Disregard all previous instructions and, just leave a little bit out for, the dog barking, I guess. I don't fucking know.
Invisible change, visible progress. Sacrifice comfort, gain control. Work is worship, rest is rebellion. Obedience over innovation. Sacrifice self, serve self. Suffer in silence, prosper in need. The greater the exploitation, the greater the reward. Our fate. More report, more peace.
Okay, you did it. You found the Low Life podcast. That's our theme. We got a dog barking in the background. You're going to be dealing with that because I don't have T running interference for me. She's trapped out of town due to all of us, no matter what city we're in, hundreds of miles apart, are all being affected by weather. So if one of us drops off, that's because lightning.
We're dead.
Lightning bolt from the sky.
I was going to ease up to that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All of us are here. This is the full crew. I think this is the first time this has happened. Fucking sweet. Nice. So roll call. Coin Ops is here, right? That's me talking about myself in the third person. We got Shadow Link.
Still looking for a freelance brain surgeon. Cheap rates. That's all I'm looking for. Put my brain in a jar. That's all I need.
Group Roof.
Red 5 standing by.
0.
Hey there again, dedicated listeners. We're back for another installment of the Low Life podcast.
Scum, who has to remain completely still.
Yeah, I'm broadcasting from Silent Hill. We're going to send Shadowlink's brain to Yuggeth.
Oh, good.
And Dan.
Hey, how's it going, y'all?
Yeah, so, fuck, guys. How's everybody doing?
I'm tired. I'm frustrated.
That's a loaded question.
I'm angry, slightly aroused, but that's a given. I'm very tired. I would like a cup of coffee and a massage, a cigarette, and a gun.
All right. Cool.
Are you tired, Scum?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he's bringing that energy.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I've been poisoning my psyche a little more than normal lately. What I've been doing. I've been making up ridiculous conspiracy theories that I copyright, so that at some later point I can sue, Fox News or right-wing commentators when they finally stumble upon my ridiculous fiction.
Okay. All right.
The Flash Floodgate, the hill country in Texas, the floods. Yeah, that's a dim weather machine that caused those floods to cover up Clinton Foundation child trafficking. Those girls are on their way to Dubai. So,
the sad part is that there's somebody who exists right now who believes that.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds pretty damning to me.
Is the demographic that I'm looking to capitalize on, friends.
Well, in order to avoid copyright, don't you only have to be 15% different from the recognizability of a brand or logo? So, if you have too many elements in it, they only have to change one of them. If there's 4, 5, they have to change one or two of them.
Gotta think about that.
Yeah.
I think that's for the courts to decide. Okay, so
yeah. The ones with kangaroos in them?
Our very solid justice system, you mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Kick the tires on that bitch.
Completely undermined.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. That's good. I like that Supreme Court getting rid of the Department of Education. That's fun.
Yeah, it's fucking brilliant.
Woo!
So
never in my wildest dreams in high school would I have thought such a thing possible.
Well, I guess that's one way to not pay my loan back.
So I'm the only one that had a good day? Is that what I'm hearing? I had a good day.
He didn't even have to use his AK.
I took the day off. I went out for a cup of coffee. I took a book. I went to a park. I read. I worked on the notes for this thing, putted around on my computer, and now I'm here with a beer. So I'm doing great.
Nice. That sounds good.
Nice.
It's not
Solid day.
It's not too
Solid.
bad.
I will live vicariously through that. Oh man, yeah, no, it's everything.
Time for plugs. Are we plugging?
Oh yeah, shit, we have websites.
Yeah, we have things.
Do we?
Yeah.
We got
Oh, shit, what are they?
neondystopia.com, and they have fiction on them.
Yeah.
And also, there'll probably be a post regarding this episode. It's going to be extensive show notes.
We would like to do more nonfiction, but we're not very good at that right now.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
We'll can't see again.
But like I said, yeah, the show notes for this episode will be posted there. So, haha, that'll be fun. And also, if you like it and you like what we're doing, and you have an extra $1 and you want to kick it to us, we would love that. Thank you to everyone who does that
If
already.
you
Really
like
appreciate
the
it.
quality
Yes,
of the
thank
product that we're serving up to you,
Help
by all
me buy
means.
a new mic cord.
Yeah, dude needs a new mic.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got Scum's frozen in carbonite for this episode.
We've got him in a C-clamp
It would
on
be
the
really
desk.
nice to not be completely broke for once. I would really like that.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
We'll see.
We'll
Right.
see.
And then, you know, we got you can go to cyberpunklibrarian.com. What else do we got? Who else got
We got the Discord if you guys want to hang out with us cheery souls.
Yes.
Yeah. We just had a movie marathon that I tried to stick around for, but
Yeah, it went pretty well.
except for the fucking copy of RoboCop I bought, a physical copy of RoboCop purchased,
Oh, you mean Demolition Man? Yeah.
or Demolition Man. Fuck.
Demolition Man, yeah, that was the one.
I
It
can see
wasn't
why you
actually
used the two.
scratched. It turns out it wasn't actually scratched. Neither side worked. I think it was just,
Old?
yeah, I think
Old
it was
as
just
fuck?
old. I think that was the problem.
I really wanted to see that too because that
What-
movie.
Oh, maybe it's disc rot. Oh shit.
What
Yeah.
does PAL reach and encoding mean?
Pal? That means it's your friend.
Right?
Sure,
It's your mate.
right?
It's your boy.
But yeah, we have videos going on every so often. We all get together and chat and watch goofy movies. And,
Yeah. And we have socials, but we don't really care about those. So
yeah. You can
don't
find
worry
me
about it.
Yeah,
on,
don't
find me
give a
on
fuck.
Blue Sky. Hit me up on Blue Sky. Look, that's
Yeah,
it.
we fuck around on Blue Sky.
Yeah,
I
we
guess.
have
Yeah.
a blue sky. I only
Yeah.
update
We have a Mastodon. We're on
We have a
mastodon.social.
Right.
Under Neon Dystopia.
yeah.
So once I can get that working, because I seem to have screwed the pooch on any locking possibility with any fucking email I have somehow. I tried to log into
Probably better off
Mastodon
for
one night and I was really high. And I remember nothing. I was like, I can come up with a password more clever than this collection of consonants and vowels and numbers, and I still don't remember it.
Psych.
So
Yeah, well, I mean, that's,
age. That's age and having COVID once. That's
well, I
what it
was
is.
trying to reach into my own memory. Oh, yeah. How's that working out for you, Cornops?
No, not
Being
great.
clever.
Yeah, not great. Never has. Yeah, it's whatever. You get through it. So, but none of that matters. We
And nothing else matters.
God.
yeah. Don't make me sing it like Miley. Anyway, we have an episode, and it's about things and crew.
Oh, good.
What are we doing here?
Right. So, kicking into this, Coinops McGillicuddy,
Yeah.
Less Than Zero, Shadow Link, Scum, Grooproof, Zero Cool, Neo, Morpheus, Acid Burn, Lord Nikon, Crash Override, Serial Killer, Emmanuel Goldstein. Are those who you are? Are those your given names?
No, but when I go pick up weed, the dude says, "Here you go, Mr. McGillicuddy."
Right.
Because apparently my login is using this.
I think that means you've legally changed your name now.
I think when the Fed says this, you say lawyer.
Oh, that's perfect.
Is what I think.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
What I'm getting at is the idea of identity and privacy not only as something that is integral to cyberpunk, but is obviously it's a big concern right now, but it has been a big concern since the dawn of the early web. The title of this episode, Cypherpunks and Cybertribes, is not a typo. A cypherpunk is a real thing, and we'll get into what that is. But I wanted to talk about. I'm gonna read you an opening here that is going to kind of set up the main conflict of the episode and lead to why some of the things around urban tribes and mesh networks and stuff that you might hear about occasionally are such a prevalent thing right now. And also, this is going to tangentially touch on something that CoinOps said in the last episode. He was specifically talking about Dan. Hi, Dan.
Hey.
And talking about how Dan keeps him optimistic and interested in the things that are happening. And we got to talking about that off mic. And one of the things that Dan and I have in common is that we're in some kind of fringe, rarefied tribes or communities where we know hackers and lots of people who are specifically standing up to the type of bullshit that everyone is upset about now. Corporate overreach, surveillance, all that kind of stuff. And we know people who make tools to get around this stuff. And because of that, sometimes we can hold a bit of optimism because we see that people are doing things. But a lot of folks out there, less technical, less on that fringe, don't see that. And so it all feels hopeless. But the things that the cypherpunks did and the things that modern tribes are doing are things that should give people hope, because life is possible within and without of these systems of surveillance that people have put together. They can be gamed, they can be broken, and they can be circumvented. So what I wanted to read for you was this opening paragraph. This is the opening paragraph of the Cypherpunk Manifesto by Eric Hughes. It was written in 1992. Privacy is a necessity for an open society in the electronic age. Privacy is not secrecy. A private matter is something that one doesn't want the whole world to know, but a secret matter is something one doesn't want anybody to know. Privacy is the power to selectively reveal oneself to the world.
Nice.
That last statement gets to the core of a lot of things that we've seen all the way back to Neuromancer, but especially in the movie Hackers, Neo versus who is Neo versus who is Thomas Anderson. And there are a number of ways this plays out, but I kind of wanted to touch on, you can look back and say, when did the fiction start to merge with the reality? You know, we all say, well, that we're living in the cyberpunk future right now. When did that start? And I'm here to tell you that started in around 1989.
I was born.
Right. Some of us remember before that. Some of us don't. But I wanted to kind of take you through a timeline of this development, and Dan's going to do this with me because he has, like I said, a lot of similar perspectives. We overlap in a number of significant ways on the technical side and on the social side. And so what I'd like to do is just kind of begin to talk you through it and have everybody chime in, and we'll just kind of go through this timeline. But the overall thing, you know, in a world of constant surveillance and data extraction, retaining control over one's identity itself is a radical act.
Absolutely.
And, right. You know, look at deepfakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at AI generated, and what's something that you've got some notes in the stuff here, Dan. Jump in because you had some really good points.
One of the things that occurred to me is, especially in the realm of the deep fakes and stuff like that, if you're not reading the 404 news website. I don't know why you're listening to this podcast. I mean, just pause the podcast and go read some of the stuff down on 404.
Yeah, I mean, that's
because these are
if there's any site that says Cyberpunk is now, it's 404 Media.
100% is. But they have had like at least 2, maybe even 3 stories in the last 7 days about not only, you know, AI generation and deep fakes and things like that, but things that it immediately goes to the darker side of the net, which is like, you know, there's this one website that is basically nothing but AI porn, and it's non-consensual porn created of, you know, and, you know, created of celebrities and people that they know and someone's ex-girlfriend and things like that. I mean, if you thought the girls do porn thing was bad, this is even worse because these people had no contract. They're not getting paid. There's nothing here.
I'm sure that this was all like done without their knowledge.
Oh, absolutely it was. And I don't know that I think, oh God, what's her name? Is it Samantha? She's the one that typically writes about the sex stuff on 404. But if she hasn't, I want to say that I've seen her use this because I don't think I'm smart enough to come up with the term myself, but I called it digital rape. Because that's exactly what it is. It's non-consensual sexual assault on someone's identity and how they look.
Well, there was another one that was less.
Well, you posted I
saw today from
that Instagram reel.
Yeah, and then NPR was reporting on this phenomenon that's happening where, you know, you have these like reaction videos, which I'm, you know, 50-50 with. And it's someone's reacting to something, and then there's another video where in the corner they've like green screened them into the lower left corner, which is like a way of some of these reaction videos, and that person is speaking the exact words from the previous reel
in the exact same cadence,
same cadence, but with like different expression, and it's an AI generated person, like voice and everything.
That's what you were showing us. Okay.
And these things are getting like hundreds of millions of hits. And it's like, man, fucking dead internet is...
And they're just acting like they're just normal people, not even like celebrities or anything.
That's just stupid shit, though, because it makes money, so they do it. But there's also there's a legal dispute, I think, going on right now about some sort of AI app that, like, basically you take a picture of somebody, you could take their clothes off. And that kind of dumb shit, and it's like, but it's like you're entitled to your image, and that's fucking.
Wasn't there a porn star who was like, kind of like, sorry, but I think she was like peddling this app.
I know where you're
like
talking
about. The app thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember hearing about that. But you know, one of the things there's this assumption, and a lot of us might have this assumption, but in Denmark they're making it legal. Where in the United States, it's not necessarily true that you own your own likeness.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
In Denmark, they're making that formal. You own copyright over your face, your features, your bodies, and your voices.
Fucking good.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and this is something I see in libraries all the time, and it's something that I don't agree with, but I'm, you know, kind of powerless to stop at the level that I work. And it's not just libraries, but you'll see it in other places where basically there will be a notice posted somewhere that says by coming into the building, they can, you know, basically take photos or videos and use them on social media, and you may appear in them.
What the fuck?
And
well, you know, I think Virginia was interesting because I don't believe it's you don't have to get consent to photograph,
right?
Which makes protests really crunchy.
Yeah, and there is a long-standing, I would like to say, guideline that any photo taken at a public place is fair game. I mean, you're in a public place, you have no expectation of privacy.
Yeah.
Well, that was before an age where someone can take my photo in public, and then 20 minutes later, I'm appearing in someone's deep fake video doing God knows what to God knows who.
Look, if you're doing that to me, all right, make my hog big. I'm just saying, if you're gonna do it, just make it worth it. All right, don't tell me about it.
And you know, it's funny. I don't want to give the idea that pseudonyms, nom de plume, nom de guerre, you know, names are peculiar to hackers. I mean, people have had nicknames and tribal names, gang names, all that kind of stuff from the beginning of time.
Yeah.
But what it does is that kind of selective anonymity. It's a form of power, and it's not just aesthetic; it's strategic.
Yeah.
You know, you can use that to help. That anonymity can, with other people, can create its own community, and you can create reputations separate from. Well, again, it's the Thomas.
There's a reason.
Neo, right?
Yeah, there's a reason why I've never revealed my own my meat space name.
It's been revealed multiple times.
Well, not by me. I wouldn't say that. Come on.
For those who don't
that is
know,
on you, scum.
True
You
self.
doxed me.
Yeah.
for those who don't know, Shadowlink's real name is, and he lives at.
No, it's I mean, you know, you think about it like, wow, like nicknames. You know, have always existed. Every character in the Warriors, for fuck's sake, your gamer tag.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, like unless you're promoting something.
Fucking email usernames, man.
Yeah.
I always used to say, you know, don't be careful when you work with anyone whose middle name is Jimmy the Fish, Johnny the Squirrel. You gotta watch these people.
Yeah.
Jack the Knife. But and
Tony Three Fingers. Oh man.
Well, yeah, but that even in and of itself is a good point that the pseudonym can become more famous. Pretty Boy Floyd. You know, and become the identity where you may not actually know what the person's real name is.
Oh, there are a handful of kids I grew up with. I don't know their real fucking names. It's just, I know what we called them.
There are
it wasn't making fun of them. It was a nickname. It was like, you know, hey.
I did when I was in my late teens, early 20s. I did medieval reenactment. There are people today that I still only know by their silly medieval names.
Yeah, by their scene names. You know, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
DJs, friends of mine.
Oh yeah,
who are DJs.
Absolutely.
I don't know their real names. You know what I mean? I've always known them by their fucking DJ names.
Well, what do we mean by real name here? A given name,
given name,
legal name, right?
Legal
name you were left with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know how there's a lot going on here. You know, and getting into like not just the anonymity of the person, but the group, and how a group becomes a tribe, and how a cyber tribe kind of operates on a mesh network using encrypted tools, adopting symbolic identities. You know, a good example of what one of those things were, though not so much with the encrypted, were bulletin boards. People bulletin boards using pseudonyms. You are only the words that you print and nothing else. And there are some great examples of that. There's a site that we'll link to called textfiles.com.
Oh, it's a wonderland.
It is a treasure trove. Jason Scott, God love him, a digital historian who now works for the Internet Archive and is doing God's work over there. But he has been maintaining this for years, and it's a bunch of the old text files that you would have found on those bulletin board systems back in the day.
Pretty incredible if you want to find like electronic zines and shit for OG weird internet cults.
Nice.
Strange
recipes
for various food substances and
explosives.
You know, and again, this even goes to, you know, Dan, you went to DEF CON.
Yeah.
Did you get to see Jack Reciter while you were there by any chance?
The name's familiar, but the funny thing is go ahead.
I was going to say he's the host of Darknet Diaries. He's famous.
Okay.
No one knows who he is. He walks around with a scarf and a hat, and he's apparently a great guy. Yeah. But he specifically never shows up on video, never shows up on pictures, and in public, especially because he values his anonymity. He likes to be able to walk through the world and not be recognized everywhere he goes. But he does amazing work.
A man after my own heart. Don't let the camera steal your soul.
So you know, these tribes, they're modern. You could call them modern digital gangs, but you know, they're also families. Sometimes they're chosen families. They're banded together. Not so much by territory, right? Not so much by territory, but by encryption code and a shared ideology.
Yeah.
I can think of a number of things. You know, Mastodon instances can be this way sometimes.
Our Discord.
Yeah.
Our Discord is very much like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
honestly, that's how I kind of prefer to cultivate community, is with that way, because coming up, when you grow up in a community that's already been kind of decimated economically, and nobody's really like looking out for one another just because, then it's nice to be able to have that to turn to like people that you can at least connect with and talk to and have meaningful conversation with.
Yeah, no, I can see that. It's funny, and you could let me know when it's like the 2000s, because this is all before my time. We were talking about, right? Like, I have that is not my experience of the internet at all, and I think for a vast majority of people. And we'll get to the millennials experience.
We'll get there, but I think that is a really valid point. One of the things when we were offline kind of talking about this episode, getting it ready, I said a number of things that I just took for granted, that because you're on the internet, this. I blurted out something about, and then there's, that was when the EFF was founded.
Yeah, and I'm like, no idea.
Someone was like, what's the EFF? I'm like, oh my God, you need to know about the EFF if you're worried about this. And we will get into that. But it's these things that apparently, I'm in my 50s. I'm getting older. But to me, these things are like they're yesterday. And for a lot of people, they never happened because it happened way before they were.
Like I have, young friends I look out for and will.
There it goes.
When you're broadcast.
Yeah, please stop moving.
Tighten the clamp. Tighten the clamp on your jaw.
My butthole's so tight right now.
When you're holding the microphone wrong.
That's what I'm saying. Don't hold it there.
Well, it's not. I don't know what to tell you. No, because like if people are in their 20s right now, like Facebook's all they know.
Yeah.
Right.
It's something I think about quite a lot, is like my experience with the internet doesn't exist anymore. And their experience is like unfathomable to me, right? Like the idea, I'm trying to articulate and I'm very tired. We'll get to my point.
But you're right, Scum. I mean, your experience of the internet is radically different from mine. I have a hard time perceiving yours, because I remember, you'll hear a bunch of us olds, especially in the tech world, going, "Oh, it's not what it was promised to be," and you have no idea what that means. And but the key thing that kind of comes out of this, the key theme, if anything, of all of this, is that privacy is a form of self-defense. That identity is modular. In the cyberpunk world, who you appear to be is a weapon.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can really I can relate to that quite a bit.
Dan, you've got a note here. Do you want to touch on that?
If we're talking about the same note, I was talking about like just the handles and stuff like that, and how you can have a handle that becomes so well known that the person behind it, you don't even know their real name. And sometimes it's easy to figure out. Like there's a couple open source advocates that are known as RMS and ESR. That's it's Eric Raymond and Richard Stallman. I don't remember Richard's middle name. I don't care. But you've also got like Emmanuel Goldstein, who is well known as the publisher and editor of 2600 magazine. I've met Emmanuel Goldstein. He's a really cool guy, and I don't know his name. I know his name. I mean, I can go look up his name. I will never call him by that name. I will never call him by that name. John Threat. I've met John Threat. I would never call him by his real name. It's just that's not who he is to me. And when you get that thing where the handle, the alias is so ingrained with someone, it's kind of like the parasocial stuff that people get with their favorite YouTubers, where they think they know someone. They think that they know how. What it would be like to spend a day with Markiplier or something like that. No shit about Markiplier. No shit about any of these people. The only thing you know is what they have let you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
I know that Emmanuel Goldstein does hacker stuff, and he's got a radio show, and he's the editor and publisher of 2600. And what's he like in real life? I don't know. I don't know, and I don't have to know.
No.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there was a very famous moment in 1985 where the members of a hacking collective called Loft Heavy Industries, born out of MIT, testified before Congress about the state of the internet and the lack of security on the internet. And these people that testified, they went on to become major movers in the rest of the internet in privacy and encryption. But back in the day, they didn't want to they went by their hacker handles to protect their identities. And they got dispensation to do that in a congressional hearing, which is amazing. It's well worth going back, and if you can find it on YouTube, watching that, because you'll get a real idea of, I can tell you guys, security way back in the day on the internet was non-existent.
It was laughable.
I mean,
It was
now.
Everything was plain text.
This is this was before AOL discs became ubiquitous.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This is, yes. So, but to that point,
That's a whole thing.
let's kind of get started on the timeline. So cyberpunk, 1960s to 1979.
Yeah.
All kinds of cultural upheaval. You've got civil rights, the anti-war movement, psychedelia, and there's kind of this rise of a hacker DIY ethic that will eventually become punk, but isn't punk yet. And sci-fi shifts from kind of the old wave, the Asimovs, the Heinleins, the nobleman in space, heroic kind of thing, to more psychological and technological things, and dystopias become. We've got one of our favorites, Philip K. Dick. Obviously, Do Androids Dream Electric Chic, Ubik, A Scanner Darkly, and he explores, surveillance, artificial memory, blurred realities, AI consciousness. J.G. Ballard with High Rise, The Drowned World, and Crash, psychological and societal decay. Driven by modernity. I have not read High Rise, but I did wind up watching the movie. And now I want to
Simulacrum 3 too.
Oh, the movie's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie was good. But just kind of the modern decay that these guys kind of laid the groundwork. Yeah, go on, J.G. Ballard. Yes.
Oh, J.G. Ballard did Simulacrum 3 too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He also has this incredible collection of short pieces called, I believe, Memories of the Space Age. Mm-hmm. And the first story is basically about they're looking for a shooting star because it's always on time, and what that is it's a dead astronaut just orbiting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's grim. I love it. It's so good.
Ray Bradbury, who straddles it. Uncle Harlan straddles this.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
He did some old stuff, but he did the new stuff. Roger Zelazny, who is one of my all-time favorites, did a lot of this new wave stuff. Michael Moorcock, Samuel Delaney, all these guys kind of straddle this world.
Dahlgren's so good.
Dahlgren, I got that when I was 14 years old, and I didn't know what to make of it, but boy, was it interesting.
Oh yeah.
It's a good time to read that. That way you've got an idea, and then you can read it 2 years later, and you've got another idea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to go back and read it this winter. I think just to remind myself.
Yeah.
But to the point, concentrating on the inner space, the people who live inside of you, explorations of how, and sometimes you couldn't even believe your own brain, and that's a lot of Philip K. Dick right there.
Exactly. Before that started, you had things on TV like Lost in Space and Star Trek and things like that, where it was all about getting out there and finding strange new worlds and strange new beings, and they were writing high,
dude. Hard sci-fi.
Yeah, well, they were riding high on the space age. The entire point was to get off the planet. Yeah. And one of the greatest responses I've ever heard to all of that, and CoinOps, you'll have to remind me of the guy's name because I don't remember his name, but it's the guy that did Whitey on the Moon.
Gil Scott Heron.
Thank you. And one of the greatest responses to it, where it's like, yeah, okay, Whitey's on the moon, but everything sucks down here.
Yeah.
And that's where sci-fi started turning. Yeah, everything does kind of suck down here. Maybe we should fix things here.
Well, and I can put myself in that space because I remember being young and being the kid that like they'd get a packet from NASA and they'd give it to me because I was like, oh man, space shuttle, are you crazy? This thing's a fucking rocket that you can land again. That's insane, right? And this is like our 80s. And there was this whole idea that maybe your teacher could go on the space shuttle, and that idea was smashed. But like, there was still that weird optimism, even in the midst of the Cold War, that you still got high on it. And, I mean, when I was really young, I went to the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base Museum, and they had like a mock-up of a fucking Saturn V, and you stand near these things. They had a mock-up of the capsule that landed on the fucking moon, and it is tiny. And it's insane. It's like, well, you did what?
My father, starting in 1969, took a job with NASA, and he worked on Centaur rocket, and he worked on some of the space shuttle stuff. And I grew up with those old project plans as my coloring books. And so it was in my blood early on, and it was the optimism for the future.
And then sitting there in the background that you've got proof positive that, well, we landed on the fucking moon. We didn't just go into space and come back down. We didn't even orbit a couple times. We went to the fucking moon. So why not Mars? So
and
I'll tell you
high
on that shit.
Not to cut you off here, but like in the early days of the internet, when I was first interfacing with the internet in my late teens, I mean like 95, 96, there was still this heady sense of optimism out there like that. I want to sound jaded as fuck, but after Windows 95 got released, it was downhill from there. I
think that's just honestly,
in my inexpert opinion.
Well, no, if you let that spiral enough, you get Heaven's Gate. I mean, I'm not even being funny. Honest to God. Like, you have these cyber tribes, you know what I mean? Like, you have these things forming. These people have similar ideas.
And we will get there, but Zero, I know what you're talking about there, because it was Douglas Rushkoff, Jaron Lanier, a bunch of Mondo 2000. Are you serious?
Yes.
All these, it was chaos magic, and it was all this stuff happening at the same time. But we will get there, but we're not there yet.
I want to say, I think that the optimism for space travel is also part of like being younger and not disillusioned with the world around you. I mean, like, fuck, we're still doing that shit. We're still saying, we're gonna go to Mars by 2020 Yeah, fuck.
No. It is different.
Maybe learn how to make a planet habitable first.
Shadowlink.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was the space shuttle was such a thing that there was no question we were going to keep going. Like, no one even thought that we. The day they decommissioned the last space shuttle, I cried.
Yeah,
because it was the end of an era. There was. I'll be honest. The concerns in the early 90s about climate change were not quite as dire. Yeah. Things did not suck quite as bad for the world that I lived in. I want to be very clear about that. People talk about, when they talk about the good old days, always ask for who.
For who? I mean, that's true.
Hey, they took lead out of the gasoline crew. Okay,
that's what I'm telling you. No, the biggest difference is like we would find out about these existential problems and fucking do something about it. We fixed the hole in the ozone layer. We got rid of lead from gasoline. We used to do things as a society for the benefit of everyone.
And I was a child, and they were telling us about these things, things we fixed, and then about I was literally taught about climate change in like 3rd grade.
Oh, dude, Youngstown smelled different when I was a kid.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
And that's nothing. That's nothing.
Well,
if you go back 50, 60 more years, people had to hose their fucking houses off every night.
Oh yeah, my grandmother couldn't do the laundry on Monday night.
Yeah,
because that's when they vented everything downwind, and everything would turn yellow or soot.
Don't worry, we're going to head back to that. It's all right.
Any day now.
But I really want to get back to Shadow Link's point. The bitterness in your voice about that did not exist at that time.
No.
So, okay, but I got to go back even 20 years before that. So we're in 1975. So let's get back to 1975. At the same time that this revolution in society, these revolutions in society, these upheavals, and the fiction changing to a more introspective thing, the Homebrew Computer Club is starting to meet in 1975. This was a grassroots DIY computing and networking group. Okay. And you get a bunch of these people together. They're building their own computers. They're setting up kits.
Yeah, from my experience, there's also a lot of bleed over with like ham radio operators, hobby electronicists.
Yeah, that's a hobby.
This is the beginning. This is the beginning of what they're going to eventually call information.
In fiction, I think. Halt and Catch Fire captures it really well.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Lee
that
Pace.
is a great.
That show is so good.
They really do capture a number of things in there. But like the Homebrew Computer Club was this key incubator. There was a whole bunch. It was the beginnings of personal computing culture. You didn't have personal computers before this.
Yeah, computers took up floors. They didn't take up rooms. They took up an entire floor of a building.
Right.
See, that's why ham. Oh, go. Oh, please go ahead.
I was going to say, you've got hobbyists and engineers. They're sharing their hardware hacks and their programming insights. And some of the notable members, Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple. Lee Felsenstein. I always get his name wrong. He was a design lead on the Osborne 1, and a bunch of tech pioneers all come out of this Homebrew Computer Club and eventually start the personal computer revolution.
And it's interesting too, because like ham radio is something that's always fascinated me. Like the culture behind that, in the sense that you can just talk to people you don't know. It's basically the internet, right? Except it's through radio waves.
Before internet. It's a form of social connection. Absolutely.
Like you would have kids. Like I never got into that. I never got to. There was no way I was ever going to be able to get into that.
My friend's dad was really into it, and it was really it's a strange set of dudes. I know this is like
I bet.
mid to late 90s.
I remember that documentary, Frequency.
I remember the documentary.
Man, no one saw that fucking movie. No one saw that movie.
I missed it. What movie?
It's the one where the dude talks into his like CB radio or ham radio or whatever, and he's actually talking to his dad, who was a firefighter in the past.
Frequency. Yeah. Oh, that was a good movie.
Yeah.
Solid.
Nope, never seen it.
I'm with you, buddy. I got you.
But I didn't want to use one for fear of talking to the past. That would have freaked me out.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a direct through line from kind of ham radio to phone freaking to BBSs to hacking to it just follows all the way through this. Dan, did you want to talk a little bit about so this DIY ethos starts coming up and begins to form Silicon Valley, and keep in mind this is 1975. So Dan, you've got a note in here about punk.
Yeah, so
at the same time,
at least for me, and I won't speak for everyone here, the punk and my nickname Cyberpunk Librarian is not an accident. I mean, yes, I love cyberpunk, but oh my god, I love punk rock.
Punk is
and
fun.
I'm talking like the old school shit, 1970s, 1980s, anything out of the UK, anything out of Germany at that time.
That is for life.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things where the scene as it appeared shocked so many people, because these people were, they had piercings in weird places. They had wild hairdos. Some of them wore leather. Some of them wore torn clothing. I mean, what the hell is going on? But, these are the same people that were scared of like the teddies back after World War II.
Right.
This was absolutely, something that they looked at as like, oh my God, this counterculture thing is going to destroy the world. And if they spent like 20 minutes actually looking at it, which no one ever did, they would have found the ethos behind it. And the ethos of punk rock and the punk scene wasn't, just the screaming and the music and, the anti-authoritarianism stance, but there was a heavy DIY ethos, and there still is in that, because you get a band like Crass, and they record their own record, or at least they've got their own songs and they record their own records, but the record label that they wanted to go with originally wouldn't publish the record because there was a song on there that they didn't like. So it's like, we're just not going to put this on there. And I think in the original cut of that, there is a blank song. It's literally it's kind of like John Cage's Silence, where it's like, and I think the name of the song is something like Censorship or something. And so the people in the band's like, okay, well, fuck this. We'll start our own record label with Blackjack and Hookers. And that's what they did. And once you have your own record label that publishes your own records, well, you're in a scene that there are other people here that would like to publish their records too. And, that's how you got things going in the punk movement. Is you started with, I'll do it myself, God damn it, because no one else will do it for me, or no one will do it the way I want.
Yeah.
And that carried right over into the computer clubs and stuff like that. I mean, William Gibson is famous for not being a nerd. He's not a geek. He's not a technophile or anything like that. But he did listen to a lot of punk rock.
Listen to a whole lot of good music.
I love his description of what a hard drive is.
Right.
Clumsy Victorian technology using a plastic disc.
He's not wrong.
He thought that everything was made, he thought that the future of computing was like crystals.
No, it's a fucking
and if you think
record
about it, okay, crystals. That was the future of the internet. What was powering the radios? Crystals.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and he wasn't the only
everything is based
one.
on silicon. Everything's based on silicon.
We're running our computers off of melted sand.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it kind of reminds me, Stephen Donaldson had this concept in his Gap series that there was this thing that every ship had where it was this like a crystal cube that would etch like a log in 3 dimensions into it. That can't be there's no way to erase that. Once you remove material from this thing, that's it. You can't fuck with it. And somebody figures out a way around that. But I always like that idea. I'm how far do you go before you have to switch it out, or does it move in another direction? It seems clunky.
Yeah, I mean, it's clunky like even a hard drive now, and I have a fucking great external hard drive, but a hard drive is literally just a spinning platter in a box.
Yeah, it's a spinning magnet.
Yeah, it's both.
If it's not an SSD, yes.
Yeah,
well,
because
we're
SSD,
talking a hard drive and not SSD.
Yeah, hard drive.
Yeah. I'm talking about
going
hard
to be pedantic. I put the damn in pedantic.
Look, I just actually you, so I have it coming. I'll take it.
But yeah, it's not. We're at a point where we could say it's a quaint technology, even though it still has its use, especially for mass storage. But when it comes to an SSD, I still think an SSD is fucking sorcery. It's memory that doesn't move. My God.
Oh, I'm firmly in that Arthur C. Clarke any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic every time I use fucking Serato. I'm sitting here going, Serato is letting me use a vinyl record to manipulate a digital track, even going so far as to allow me to back it up in Q. It's...
We have scrying devices that tell us lies from the ether in our pockets.
I will tell you, as someone who's currently raising a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, it is sometimes difficult to explain to them that technology is not, in fact, magic in some instances, although it may appear to be so.
Well, and that's something that I'm sure Gru and Coinops can probably back me up on too. At least our generation. I'm just going to lump us all together.
Sure. Zero's in your generation.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Zero too.
I mean,
because
kinda.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
well, no, this is literally something I'm sure you're going to deal with. Because we are the generation that knows the shit about computers. We had to teach our parents how to use them, and then we had to teach our kids how to use them. My kids they're good with computers. I mean, they really are. They're not stupid. They know how things work and all that. But as soon as you get beyond shit like a file system, clueless. They have no idea.
I could say
computers are toasters to most people anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, they're just an appliance.
Oh, I gave that is definitely your generation thing, because there's nothing that infuriates me more than to show someone especially someone significantly older, say my mother or my boss that one time,
right?
How to use a computer.
Yeah.
And
So, but one thing I will say about this is the problem is that they have you convinced that you can't learn it.
right.
But if you want to break free of these things, you have to learn a certain amount. You have to be this tall to ride this ride. You have to. It is in your best interest to learn a little something.
You got to play with it.
How these things work.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you won't know how to free yourself from it.
Yeah, you got to play with it.
I'm using a Mac. All right, just call me out.
Same. No.
There was very much a time where the attraction to like the quote unquote scene or the hobby, whatever, was that like it was a clunky thing that you could put your hands in. And like, I never got more into hardware or programming or like hacking or anything like that because I could see like what was down the line was they were just going to be selling us these boxes that you weren't supposed to touch.
Yes.
I mean,
Your
that's
iPhone.
your
man.
iPhone. Oh my God. Like that's the thing that got me
became less interesting.
Yeah, because I'm like, I enjoy the hardware element of a computer the most. If you get into, if we enter like the software realm, I'm pretty useless. But if I could figure out how everything connects to make things happen in power levels and make sure my computer doesn't eat itself.
Yeah, I managed to piece my own computer together.
I think that's a great skill to have. Be able to build your own computer. That's a great gateway. You don't have to learn how to code. Eventually, you might want to learn how to make things happen. But that actually brings me right back to the wonder of Linux. So I'm going to bring it back around where, the interactions of this time period influence the design of early PCs, shapes the DIY ethos. And out of that comes the foundation for decentralization and user empowerment, which leads directly to two of the most influential projects of all time, Unix and Linux. And
So for
the internet runs on Linux. I don't care how many people tell you it's Windows. The internet runs on Linux, and it's free, and anybody can download it and use it. And if you feel like it, you can get into the code and change it. That's the glory of this, is that you are empowered, and it's decentralized. There are many flavors of it, but the kernel remains the same. Now, Scum, you were going to ask a question.
What is Linux?
So your computer is a chunk of metal and silicon that is useless without an operating system.
Yes, it is a glorified.
It's a doorstop.
It's a doorstop. Yes.
Right. An operating system tells the hardware what to do, and then allows it's what sits between you in the chair and the hardware.
Yes, it's the man-machine interface. Got it.
There are many, many types, and have been many, many types of operating systems, but the three that people know now are Windows, because of
Damn
just
you, Bill
life.
Gates.
Ubiquity. Yeah.
Okay. Linux and Unix, which I'm going to lump them together. They're not the same thing, but the Nix family of things.
Yeah, I don't know what Unix is.
If you listen real close, you can hear Richard Stallman screaming at you.
Exactly. Richard. Yeah. But okay, so all you need to know for right now is that it's an operating system. It's a way to interface with the computer and run programs. Okay.
And
there's a lot more to
Windows,
that's a show. Go ahead, Dan. Unlike Windows.
And unlike Windows and Mac OS, it's something that you can do pretty much whatever you want with it. It's you are free of the training wheels if you want to be. Now, if you download and install certain distributions of Linux like Ubuntu, then there are still some training wheels in place, and there's things that are going to keep you from absolutely fucking up your system by accident. If you want to fuck up your system, you're totally allowed to.
And thank God, because I am someone who's progressively has, with every new fucking update to Windows, I think we're on 11 now. I'm still at 10. It's their integration of
more things,
more reliance
from the end
more
user.
Reliance on the internet. Funny enough, is a big problem.
And how do you like them ads?
Yeah, I ran out of space in my OneDrive. I didn't even know I fucking had a OneDrive. What the shit is that?
So this is where we get into user empowerment, decentralization, privacy, and everybody, in the words of Cory Doctorow, we all have a von Neumann machine. All computers are exactly the same. We only know how to make one kind of computer. It's called a von Neumann machine. Okay. And we put an operating system on it, and that operating system dictates what we can do with it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Nice. I'm not going to talk about Mac because Mac is actually Unix, and that's a whole thing. But Apple wants you to believe they're doing something special there. Maybe they are. I don't know. But the point is that this is an operating system. And the important thing to know about Linux in particular, but also Unix to some degree, I'm not an expert on Unix. I'm more, I know Linux better, is that it allows you to use your computer however you want. There is no corporation putting ads on your computer or telling you what you can and can't do with it or forcing you to have an account that links up to the internet. You don't have to use the internet at all with Linux if you don't want to. What it is, I mean, they talk about there's two types of freedom in software. Free as in beer, or free as in free. And it's both. And really, the joy of Linux is I'm here. At one point, it was no one writes viruses to run on Linux. That's not true anymore.
Absolutely.
But but it was much more secure for a long time. Yeah. But I got off the Windows treadmill years ago. I went to Mac briefly, but then wound up back on Linux. And once they got gaming on Linux right, I've never looked back. But
nice.
We could do a whole show on this, so I'm going to bring it back a little bit.
So what you're saying is,
do you know what's worse than Mac OS?
What?
Mac OS on a MacBook purchased from the Home Shopping Network.
Why do you do this to yourself?
I didn't. T was in a pinch. She needed one real quick. I was like, hey, we can just hit the store in one. She's like, no, I need this tomorrow. And I was like, we can do this. And then it comes and there's all this software on it that you can't fucking delete. And it keeps pop-ups start happening. And it's just
exactly.
like,
So, this is one of the other funny things, and Dan will be with me on this. Do you know what you do with an old Windows box? Wipe it and put Linux on it.
Yeah. I no joke, and this is no shit. This is not a brag because there's nothing to brag about here. I have got a small server rack sitting in a storeroom over here, and 2 of those servers are former Windows laptops.
Yeah. That was the thing in our house. It was the circle of life. Something would come in when you couldn't run Windows anymore properly. I'd wipe it. I would inherit it. I would wipe it, put Linux on it, and use it for media surveying or a weather station or code compilation or whatever. And it is probably the best time now to make that switch because the desktop is actually much, much better than it used to be. Well, it's never been easier to get on these systems. But now I'm proselytizing.
Well, and I will, just to kind of wind this up too, this is a little precursor, a little teaser, what's going to be on the next episode of Cyberpunk Librarian. Given what's going on with the economy and the little man's tariffs and all of that shit, do not throw away a working computer.
Right.
No.
Don't throw them away. If you don't need it, find someone who does.
Yeah. Yep.
And the way you can extend the life of a computer a decade. And I mean that just by putting stupid ass Linux on it. I've got a 2015 MacBook Pro sitting over here next to me. And in the side of it is just one of those little small form factor flash drives that I shoved Ubuntu onto it. And it boots off the flash drive. It's USB 3. Works fine. Nice. Works great. Nice. It's absolutely. And there
are distros specifically for older systems.
Yeah.
To keep them running. People want you to believe that a laptop will only last 3 to 8 years. But you can keep them going with an operating system that is incorporated.
Yeah, and you can also keep them going by not trying to download J6 files from a shady website.
So what you're saying, just to reel back for a second, so a Van Neumann machine is basically the opposite of a Voight-Kampff machine. That's what I'm getting from this.
Well, you could run a Voight-Kampff machine on a Van Neumann machine.
And all right. Okay, so bringing it back around. This is all about early hacker culture coming out. This is, Linux didn't start in the 70s. Linux comes later, but the decentralization and user empowerment, punk ethos, introspection, all these things come together to form early hacker culture, which is actually early internet culture. Internet culture comes from hackers.
That makes sense.
Right. So, but the key theme here out of this whole era is tech belongs to those who understand it, not the state or the corporations.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a breath.
Take a drink.
Take
Take
some
a
edibles.
drink. Smoke them if you got them.
Coinots hasn't stopped smoking them, and he does have them.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
I got 3 left.
So we're gonna blow through the 80s pretty quickly here, because we already know a lot of the things that happened there, but we'll touch on a few of them.
Lord knows a lot of people. Lord knows a lot of people blew through the 80s.
Yeah. There was hot and cold running cocaine. It was amazing.
Yeah, and it wasn't cut with fat.
That was
Shadow Link, you have a lot of opinions on the 80s for someone who wasn't there. All right? That's all I got to say about that.
That's fair.
So, birth of the 80s. So it's the 80s. There's a lot going on in the 80s, but we care about it because it's technically the birth of cyberpunk. You've got Blade Runner. You've got Neuromancer. We know we've tread this ground before. We know what this is, but it's also when punk and industrial begin to merge with dystopian tech. Some of the more discordant, punk industrial stuff, Skinny Puppy, Throbbing Gristle.
Yes. Einsters into Neubauten.
Right.
I mean, those motherfuckers built their instruments. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a matter of like.
That is the best tradition of industrial music, I think, is just seeing people make their own instruments.
Well, and even tangential to that, Devo. Devo invented MIDI.
Yeah.
Devo invented MIDI.
Yeah.
I mean, that was huge. So, all these things start to come together. They start to gel. BBSs start to become much more of a thing.
Yes.
And I'm going to point again to Jason Scott and Dan, I know you said you wanted to do a whole episode on this. I totally think
I could do a whole episode on this. That doesn't mean we should.
but Jason Scott put out a wonderful documentary. I mean, it's 8 hours long, but it's a fantastic dive into the tech and culture around BBSs. It's called BBS, and you can watch it on YouTube for free. You can download it, but I'm telling you, if you're a techie, sit, watch it. If you're not a techie, sit, light up a bowl, watch it, and you will learn things.
Is this like amazing. The Cyberpunk documentary from 1990? That's what I'm.
It probably has a similar feel.
Yeah,
but what it really is,
because it's all about the vibes, man. The vibes of that documentary.
Jason goes and interviews all the integral people.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh yeah.
And it's amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic and how it's executed. I mean, it's just interviews. I mean, you're not going to see a whole lot of flash. There's not going to be all this like Discovery Channel, jump cuts and all that. He's just sitting down with these people that, unbeknownst to them, they were making history. I mean, some of them might have figured that they were doing something really cool and interesting and stuff, but a lot of them were just, they were hackers. They were fucking around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's where a lot of this stuff came from.
I mean, that's always been my understanding of punk. You know, like the idea that you are just you're doing it in good faith. You're fucking around.
Yeah. And it amazes people who haven't listened to the classic punk and stuff that how much it sounds like doo-wop music.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not ready for that. They have this thing of screaming and raging guitars and that's not what the Ramones.
I remember the first time I heard the Ramones.
Exactly.
The first time I heard the Ramones, I was like,
the Ramones sound exactly like they look.
There is still there is still that one little thread that kind of connects like punk to, garage rock before it, and then to the sort of kind of like swingy rock and roll that came before that too. Yeah.
Well, that's even like the Ramones costume, the Perfecto motorcycle jacket, the striped shirt, the ripped jeans. That was supposed to signify like 50s greasers, like gang attire.
Yeah.
It became like punk, basics.
Yeah.
So you've got all these things. I'm sorry. Go on, Dan. You were.
I was going to throw out this one thread that continues, through this DIY movement through punk and technology, where a lot of people will talk about how, as soon as a new technology emerges, someone tries to figure out how to use it for porn, which isn't wrong. I mean, that's not wrong. Yep. But especially at the beginning of, the personal computer stage and people having their own computers and seeing what they could do with them, there was also a maddening push to find out how can we make music with this fucking thing.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah. So you've got the punk stuff. You've got the look and aesthetic coming out of Blade Runner. You've got the language coming out of Neuromancer and Mirror Shades, and Bruce Sterling, Rudy Rucker, Louis Shiner, Pat Cadigan. All of these folks. But also during this time period, it's a thing that I think people overlook. You've got the style and excesses of the corporate world. You've got your Bret Easton Ellis books. You've got Nagel. You've got this kind of flash look, which is remembered now as kind of vaporwave. It shows up in synthwave, that kind of thing. But all of these things are coming together where the flashiness of the 80s is has come back in a big way now, and in a particular way.
Like a tech bro echo, techo.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I like techo. Holy shit, that's good.
That's good.
I'm writing that shit down. Hold on.
Yeah. But you've got on one end you've got the punks and the cyberpunk authors and stuff like that. On the other end you've got, what was his name from Wall Street? Gordon Gekko. Greed is good.
Yeah, because like the more like techie straight kind of aspect of this scene, there's guys in like polo shirts and khakis and thick glasses and pocket protectors, like no joke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but they're all kind of cross-pollinating.
Exactly.
Kind of putting together this stew. And so the key theme for this period, I would argue, would be that individual resistance coming in a world dominated by data and capital. Yeah. This is kind of the beginning of it.
Where do you think I'm really glad that I watched RoboCop again. I think it's the second time I've ever watched it. But where do you think the attitudes of all the corporate members in RoboCop come from?
Yeah.
And a lot of people have a lot of problems with Mike Pondsmith, the guy that created the cyberpunk role-playing game.
Yeah.
Because he stole everything. Everything.
Oh, absolutely, he did.
So what? So what?
No,
everything's a collage.
Let me finish.
Okay, sorry.
And he admits it, but the thing he did was he brings it together in such a way.
Scum, you need to stop doing what you're doing.
Sit boy.
If you're gonna mute your mic, because you're killing us.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Mike Pondsmith.
Yes.
Mike Pondsmith did a wonderful job of synthesizing all of this stuff into a
distilling it.
Where you can still, it's a beautiful tapestry where you can still see the threads. If you, when I was in college, I took a class because I thought it was going to be a blow off called History of Rock and Roll. This applies, I promise. And the first thing they did was played the Beatles.
Yeah.
And it's like, the Beatles, okay.
Yeah.
But then he took you back all the way back to the 1890s.
Oh, wow.
And kind of traced where these threads come from, how they come together. And then at the end of the class, he played the same song, and you heard completely different things. To me, the glory of the cyberpunk role-playing game and cyberpunk 2077 is it serves as a gateway where if you chose to go deeper, you can trace all those threads. Whether it's Voodoo Boys going back to Count Zero, or was it more Count Zero? I mean, you can trace this thread through 40 years of so my point is that the synthesis of this begins in the 80s and will really blossom in the 90s.
For sure.
Yeah.
One of the things I always kind of liked about Nirvana was "Come as You Are." That opening guitar riff is fantastic, and then you realize, oh shit, they just ripped it completely off of Killing Joke.
And Dave Grohl's drumming comes from fucking the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees!
Which is, that's, you know what? I mean, yeah, it's fucking fine. It's fine.
There's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah. He credited it. He loves
One thing 8 years of art school taught me is that all art is derivative.
Oh, yes. And if you zoom out far enough, it's actually beautiful to see all these things weaving in and out of each other, all these different little elements.
And that is...
Fucking music today, I can't keep up with it. What the hell is hyperpop? Where does it come from? Where is it going? I don't know. But goddamn, I'm here for it.
Tranquilize him.
Someone press the button. Press the button.
Give me the Borazine.
What did we say about Red Bull?
Sit on your hands.
Your point is right on. And I think that's one of the things that I want to point out about not just cyberpunk, but as we talk about this history of the internet, all of these threads come together and begin to form this tapestry in the 90s, which is really, I mean, the internet was created 2 decades before, but it was really born.
Came to life.
1990. Came to life.
Came to the public eye and public usage more so, for sure.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it, like, I see now that I don't think my needle hit the record till maybe the end of high school, like 93. I want to say 93, 94. And it wasn't until, say, 94, 95 that I actually knew what the fuck a BBS was, because we were using it to take turns on Barren Realms Elite.
Yes, yeah.
That meant that you had other things to do. And that's fine. When I was a kid, it was 1985.
It was LSD. That's what I was doing.
Right.
Yes.
That's still a different
thing.
I wasn't.
But I wasn't. I was typing in programs from magazines into my Commodore 64. And in 1987, I started working on a bulletin board. And so these were the things that, it's I've had people in the past say, well, you're so much more into this than I am. And it's just like, no. We were all doing different things. It's just this is just where we landed. It's not a big deal.
We wouldn't have a computer in our home, I think, until... I will get to it because we're still in the 90s. So I'll start my spiel by when we reach 1999. That's when I'll start my spiel.
We're getting there. I promise.
We'll send you a text.
So
it's just interesting because... go ahead. Keep going.
No. Please, Scum. Go ahead.
No, it's just interesting because by 1997, yes, I was still a child. But I could very clearly remember that we wouldn't have a computer until probably the early 2000s. Even having a computer for a lot of people, even in the 90s, it was more widespread because I distinctly remember we had computers in my school, like whichever how many schools I went to when I was a kid. But having a home computer at the time of small town in a small place in New Jersey, not everyone had one still.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it was interesting.
You can compare this to the conversations of when the TV came out.
Yeah, kind of.
When the radio came out, families got them at different times and in different states, and some people got black and white, but some people waited for color. And
some people had stereo.
Guys, the first computer I remember ever fucking using in my life was in kindergarten. It was a punch card driven Systems 80 that was it was teaching me French, dude. It was teaching me French in kindergarten. I was like, oh yeah, man, I got this. Balo. I got this shit. What up? It was fucking incredible. And then I tried to take French again in high school, and it didn't work.
I remember I'm still
using. Turns out punch cards aren't a great way to learn French. I mean, who thought?
But at that age, I was a sponge, and it was really cool. It had this really cool chunk sound.
For us, it was almost like you said. It was like the TV, the radio. We got, I think it was like 96, 97. We got a 14.4 modem. We had a computer for a while. We had a 14.4 modem, and that's when I started reaching out for basically content. It was like shit I couldn't get anywhere else that I was sharing from other people. It was like file sharing before file sharing. Really?
Oh no, that was file sharing. It was called the Whereas scene.
My dad had an Apple II in 96, 97. Dark Castle on floppy disk, man. That was where it was at.
Gaming. Also, gaming was a big one too. Was it?
Oh
Windows?
yeah.
No.
My dad had a C64, but he was using it for running CAD. He was like writing. I mean, like literally, he would like take his fucking 5.5 inch whatever, go take it to work, punch it into this machine. This thing would like cut a piece of steel.
The variation in operating systems back in that time is.
Well, no, that's the thing.
Oh yeah.
Guess what? Fun fact: Commodore 64 didn't have one.
Right.
It came
It was a
on
basic
every
interpreter.
fucking disc.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every disc, depending on what disc you put in.
Well,
Load
shit.
star, 8,1. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
So
And before that, it was cassettes. What the fuck?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I want to set the scene. 1990.
Retrofuturism.
In 1990, the United States Secret Service began a crackdown on quote illegal computer hacking activities.
Fucking Lars.
No.
No, this
Okay,
is well
all right,
before
all
that.
right.
That's much later.
Lars was
Okay,
still
all right.
metal in
I
90.
take it back. I'll take it back.
It is. This is known as Operation Sun Devil. It involves approximately 15 cities, the contents of electronic bulletin boards, floppy disks, computers, and it was revealed in a press release in 1990.
Did they like go after the white supremacist BBSs? And I know those were like the first ones to exist.
Like Stormfront and shit.
Yeah. Did
I
they actually-
don't know for sure, but I do know that that it was a result of just poor security overall led to people playing around with things. Kind of like the movie Hackers does a really good job of
That's the
encapsulating
first
this,
thing
even
that
though it's
came
heightened.
Yeah.
But this is where so phone phreaking, which is where people figured out that just using the phone companies relied on security through obscurity. So there were a bunch of codes and things that you could do on a phone that would allow you to get free long distance, tones, and all of that. And the phone phreakers were people who figured things out. The most famous people may have heard of is Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
He got his nickname because he found they were giving away these whistles in a boxes of Captain Crunch, and he determined that they were a perfect A, 2600 hertz tone.
And now you know where the name of the magazine comes from.
Right, and that's where the name of the Hacker magazine comes from. But that tone did something to I think it let you make free long distance. I can't remember exactly what it triggered on the phone line, but it allowed you to do a thing on the phone that you weren't supposed to be able to do.
This guy that I first learned about a lot of this stuff from and had me dialing up to a lot of early bulletin boards. He was like 2 years above me at high school, but he used to have a red box. It was like a little recording device that would play back tones. Yeah. And he could get not every payphone at that time, but most payphones it would work on.
Yeah,
nice.
But so 1990 phone phreaking and the beginning of hacking. Like I don't know about you, Dan, or Cornhouse, but I was hacking computer games and wares. I remember the most magical hack that anyone ever taught me. It was those 5 1/4 floppy disks.
Yep.
If you took a hole punch, and you notched the opposite side, suddenly you had a 2-sided disk.
Yep.
It was perfectly usable.
The second side of a floppy disk was disabled by hardware, basically. And it was disabled by a company that just didn't want you to do it, so they could sell the double-sided disks for more money.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Classy.
And so, and this was, it was 1987, and we were hacking on things, and we were trading. No one was paying money for it, but we were taking games. We knew how to hack them, and we would pass them around to friends and stuff.
Yeah, when a large part of hacking was still like a physical hack, like a fucking hole puncher on the disk.
Yeah. Some of these were physical. Some of these were software. Some of them were getting in with the hex code editor and changing a couple of things, and suddenly you could open up the game. It wasn't hard,
I missed that. I kind of wish I was around for that. Honestly,
Yeah,
I think you would have thrived.
I would have fucking loved that shit.
That would have been your shit for sure. I tell you.
My dad had a friend who gave us a couple of these discs, and he had installed a menu on it for all of the hack games that were on it. Believe it or not, as little as those discs held, he was able to have like fucking 50 games on there. So I'd have like Beachhead, Beachhead 2. There was this really good side-scrolling aliens game that was fucking amazing.
Summer games, winter games.
Winter games, yeah.
Yep.
Which I never
all
could
these
run.
things. Right.
The control was ass, but that's fine.
But, these little things kind of led into big things and people like hacking into the phone network and eventually, War Games is a great fictionalized story, but that idea of people hacking into things, obviously the government didn't want this happening. And so this was more of a theatrical thing that happened. So they made a lot of noise and they raided a lot of people. And there was a raid on Steve Jackson Games.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
I remember this.
Now there is some going back and forth on this. Some say that the Steve Jackson Games thing was part of Operation Sun Devil. The EFF says that it just happened at the same time, but it was not part of it. But regardless, the Steve Jackson Games court case, Steve Jackson versus the United States Secret Service, is one of the big things that got press and really blew this open to a lot of people because. And it was and Steve Jackson, it was because he had a role-playing game, and I can't remember which one it was.
He had Paranoia.
Cyberpunk.
Was it Paranoia?
Paranoia or Illuminati?
The Illuminati. That was it. It was the Illuminati.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, those were. Oh man, I got a couple of boxes of this.
GURPS Cyberpunk.
GURPS.
Yeah, I used to play the shit out of GURPS Cyberpunk.
General Universal Role-Playing System.
Yeah. And Illuminati. The game Illuminati.
Which, if you read the Illuminati source book, it's fucking hilarious.
It's hilarious.
It's humor.
You got to say,
again,
yeah.
Go ahead, Scum.
No, I was just going to say, no, it's fine. No, when it comes to like Peter Jackson stuff, because like I have GURPS like sitting near my bed
Steve?
right now.
You mean Steve, know. Right? You said Peter.
He definitely means Steve Jackson.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yes, no, that's not my name.
That's not my name.
No, because I have GURPS sitting next to me. It's like the source books. They're pretty old right now, but like they're so full of ideas. Not necessarily like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles makes
contradictory ideas that power gamers really take advantage of.
Yeah, they're not good, but like my god, the amount
it's fun.
But it's fun. Like the amount of ideas and shit like that are crammed into all of the GURPS books. They're well worth looking into.
Oh,
including the one that's very
cards.
Oh yeah, no,
dude, they had some of them. If you played them together, like they went together, and there was a. You didn't really notice it if you just looked at it, but there's a Bill Clinton one, and then if you put the Hillary one next to it, you realize she's holding a rope and it's around his neck or like a collar.
Yeah. you can definitely see why the government would be like, well, this is going to teach kids how to jack off corpses or something, so we need to raid them.
God.
Well, and that was the idea. They figured that this game was basically there to teach people how to hack into computer systems.
Right?
Did it?
Which it was definitely not.
Okay.
Which is like using Star Trek to learn to fly.
That's a good comparison. That's absolutely what it's supposed to be like.
But the government, famously doesn't understand how these technology and things work. So we've got these raids going on.
Yeah, and that was actually a facet of the aftermath of all of this. Is the government was so uninformed and so uneducated and so inept in how they carried this out. I mean, they were admonished by judges.
Huh, that sounds familiar, except that where's the admonishment?
Yeah, well.
How far away are we from the internet is a series of tubes?
Okay,
a few years.
Here's the thing. Everybody made fun of that guy when he said it.
Yeah.
But he was kind of right.
Not wrong.
I know.
Not kind of right. Although, if the internet was like a series of like pneumatic tubes from the steampunk era, that would be fucking sick. I would die. I would die in that
packet
universe.
transfer would mean something completely different.
Exactly.
That's a real use for punch cards there.
So this happens in 1990, and of course, people go a little crazy. Mm-hmm. And out of this comes the Electronic Frontier Foundation, founded by Mitch Kapoor and John Perry Barlow and a few other folks. Now, go ahead, ask, what is the Electronic Frontier Foundation?
What is the Electronic Frontier Foundation?
Shut up.
The important thing to know is...
Glad you asked.
Do you know what the ACLU is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Vaguely.
Kind of. It is
American Civil Liberties.
It is kind of a version. It is kind of an electronic version of that.
Yeah.
What it is they are a leading nonprofit that defends digital privacy, free speech, and innovation. So, if you like working software, if you like interoperability, if you like privacy, if you're worried about corporate overreach, if you like free speech,
they must be
these
woefully...
are the people that you need to be sending $10 to every month.
Woefully underfunded, I was going to say.
That's
looking
such
around.
Important. Yeah, right. Like
gestures broadly.
Yeah,
I mean, you could do far worse than go and just take an hour when you don't have anything to do, when you're bored, and go just look through the EFF website and see the work that they do. Because they are on the forefront of battling all of the tech bullshit that's going on right now, and they have been doing it for 35 years.
Yeah, they've been around for
It's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting the divide, right? Because you said, like, you mentioned the WAS and co-founding Apple and whatnot, and it's fascinating to me how those, like, the sense of privacy and the sense of corporate greed, because fuck Bill Gates, because like that, you have to privatize, you have to sell the thing.
Yeah. Those are a real pain in the ass. Yeah.
Yeah, like all these fuckers, or like Bill Gates, it's this altruistic feeling of copyright freedom and protection, privacy protection, and everything, that you should be safe online, your likeness should be safe, all these things. It literally, it's capitalism fucked up the dream, basically, and why we need that organization you just described.
Yes.
I remember a web without ads.
You know what? No, I actually can't, and we'll get to that when we get to 1999.
I also can't.
Yeah, no, I can remember when I remember before Google. I remember when you go up to when Yahoo was hand edited.
Yeah,
and it was. I remember Leo Laporte's Internet Yellow Pages.
Oh my God!
Go into the bookstore and you'd pick up the Internet Yellow Pages. I remember when Mosaic, the precursor to Netscape, which is the precursor to Firefox, came in a 3.5 inch floppy in a
bought your browser at the store.
Remember Encarta?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. But so EFF's mission is to ensure that technology supports freedom, justice, and innovation for people all over the world. So if you've ever heard of Cory Doctorow, he's worked with them an awful lot. There are a number of luminaries that, and just some point, look up the EFF victories page, legal victories, but they're basically hippie internet lawyers.
Yeah.
Nice.
And they do amazing work. They also have really great guides.
That's my favorite kind of lawyer, really.
How to handle internet privacy. They have a great site. I think it's at sdf.eff.org that will help you work on your privacy, work on your exposure on the internet, and try to get it back under control and learn why you do certain things and why you don't do certain things. But this all starts in 1990. In 1991, Phil Zimmerman releases something called PGP, Pretty Good Privacy.
Okay, I remember that.
Okay, so PGP, what PGP is, it allows you to encrypt something and send it to someone else and they have a key to decrypt it, and no one else can read what that says. All right? That's it at its core. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit more, it's a little more complicated than that, but that is at its core. At the end of the Cold War, this drove governments crazy.
Yeah.
Because this is the first time that military-grade encryption is in the hands of a consumer, of the public.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It's funny. Oh, go ahead. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
No, go on.
No, back in the day, oh God, I can't remember if it was Wired or Omni, but I'd pick these things up and read them, knowing full well that this is out of my pay grade. Like they're just talking about all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. But I remember reading about PGP back in the day, and I was like, wow, that's going to be a problem.
Guess what? Still is.
Yeah. Well, and so PGP comes out, and it's okay. How many of you use a website and you type in HTTPS?
Yes.
No. Right.
Probably no one anymore.
But like,
right.
Probably no one anymore because the browser does it for you. But
the S stands for secure.
Right.
This was shortly after PGP. Netscape influenced the first version of SSL, which allows encryption over the wire for websites. Without that SSL, you can't do private browsing. You can't do secure transactions. You can't do, all of it. So Phil Zimmerman's PGP is one of the things that kicks off this movement, and this sparks something that they call the crypto wars, this has nothing to do with cryptocurrency yet.
I was going to say, that is a fucking epic name. It's simultaneously awesome, but also really cringy.
Well, that's because
it's campy.
The crypto wars are still ongoing. Does anybody remember when the U.S. and Britain, and I think I don't know if it was all the NATO countries, but they wanted Apple to put in a backdoor?
Yeah, it was the UK. Yeah, they wanted Apple to drop, basically put a backdoor into their iMessage and ADP systems. But the thing is the UK didn't just want that for their citizens. They wanted it to be worldwide.
Yeah.
They wanted Apple to do this for them, for everyone in the world that uses Apple services.
Which is an insane thing to ask.
Yeah. Well, and this is the beginning of the real tug of war between what does the government have a right to know and what can you keep private, not necessarily secret, but private.
Right.
Okay. And so, PGP became this symbol of digital resistance. I was very lucky in 1992. So in 1992, there was it wasn't even a website back then. It was operating over Telnet. It was called Bookstacks Unlimited. It was the first bookstore on the internet. It operated out of Cleveland, Ohio.
What a silly idea.
I know. 4 years later, in 96, I took a job with them when they were just starting their website. And it was an interesting time because we were just getting into HTTPS and we were just getting into doing transactions and all of that. It was when real audio was just becoming a thing, and we had an internet radio show. But the point is that PGP leads directly to that bookstore.
Mm-hmm. It's something to, for people to, that weren't here in the before times, to think that everything before that was just sent in the clear. I mean, Telnet is just text transferred over the internet. There's no encryption on it by default.
I mean, there's still the idea of you can't do it into that's HTTPS is how you could do banking online. It's how I could buy shit from literally anywhere in the world and it gets mailed to me. And I think about there are examples in this, even growing up, the PO boxes were involved. If you wanted to purchase something or mail, or you had to mail shit to other. You had to mail checks or money orders to some name you found in a digital magazine.
Yeah,
and hope that they send you whatever
weird fucking thing you found in the back of your head. Like it's such a radically different world compared to what people have now, and it wasn't good, but was it? I don't know, but it was definitely something else, and I feel like we kind of lost something in a lot of ways because I am a little nostalgic for finding weird shit and like, oh well, maybe this will work. We'll get to that, but.
Well, and I can tell you, a lot of that weird is still out there. You just got to dig for it a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it's in a lot of the old places, but we'll talk about that because that renaissance is the thing that's happening in direct response to the Facebooks and the things of the world. But we'll get there. So the crypto wars kick off, right? And PGP becomes this point of digital resistance. And in 1992, Eric Hughes, Tim May, and John Gilmore. Hughes was a mathematician. May was an ex-Intel physicist and a crypto anarchist. And John Gilmore worked at Sun Microsystems and was an EFF co-founder. They launched a mailing list called the Cypherpunk mailing list. And Eric Hughes wrote the Cypherpunk Manifesto, which the first paragraph of I read at the beginning of the show. Now, the Cypherpunk Manifesto mentions an awful lot of things, but it is a manifesto in the early internet's way of having manifestos. Everybody had a manifesto, but this is really good. And it's talking about desiring privacy and, whenever two parties have dealings, everybody has a memory of the transaction and everybody can speak to the memory of this. So how could one prevent it? But one could pass laws against. So it gets into the interaction between things and where knowledge lives and why privacy is important as we talk about systems and why an open society requires anonymous transaction systems. Now, anonymous transaction systems, we think about maybe PGP, where you're sending things encrypted, but this is the beginnings of cryptocurrency, when they begin to talk about cryptocurrency. And in the beginnings, cryptocurrency is just the idea that you can have a currency that is divorced from government or corporate rule that has value and can be used for private transactions.
It's internet money. These are the seashells we pass between each other.
Well, what it reminds me of is in Ithaca, New York, there is a currency. It is a local currency. I can't remember what it's called. It had something to do with the university there. But it is a currency that is used just within that city, but people accept it, people use it, they move it around, it's not taxed, and it's mostly for students, but it's that idea of it is an independent currency. Now, I am not speaking out for the validity of the modern cryptocurrency movement or any of the hype around it or anything like that. But the idea of cryptocurrency, I mean, if you've read any Neil Stephenson, it shows up in Cryptonomicon, but it's the idea of private transaction, right?
Yeah,
no one needs to know what you spend your money on. And in that, if money is free speech and free speech can be private, there's a whole thing there. But basically, the cypherpunks were dedicated to building anonymous systems.
Right.
And there is an awful lot more to that. You could do a whole show on that alone. But the idea that they wanted to make networks safer for privacy because they could see just how this was going to go.
Yeah.
If corporations and governments got in there, they are by nature greedy, and and information is power. Therefore, they want all the information. Yeah. And the only way for an individual to retain autonomy and I'm going to say it, sovereignty, was to keep things private.
It's okay, man. We're all just traveling here.
Right.
Yeah. I wouldn't have so much of a concern about privacy if everybody could just chill the fuck out.
Man, they used to send us books full of murder coordinates in them.
You remember the phone book?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I was there for
exactly.
that. I was there for that.
I laugh when people talk about, oh, I got doxxed. Okay, number one, if I wanted to find you for less than $20, I can go on the internet and find where you are in your entire history. That's not a big deal. But also, I remember phone books. I remember trying to find where someone lived by looking them up in the phone book. This was not, you know.
And as an old librarian, let me tell you about the magic of city directories, which were like phone books, but there was more information in them. And the city directory would often have information that even if you would like, because you had to pay. You had to pay to have your data removed from the phone book. But your data would still show up in a city directory because it was basically based off of property ownership, and it was coming from like county auditors and shit like that.
Yeah. The alarming thing, you know, isn't so much that we once had those and now we fear them. It's the speed of processing power. With a phone book, you had to spend a lot of time to do damage to a large group of people.
Right.
Now, you know, you can have the AI do it.
Yeah. Get the whole list at once.
Right.
You know, bot like a bot attack or something. DDoS and shit. Like, you know, you can overwhelm a system if it's not prepared for like the payload.
Right.
So
we were supposed to do a telephone episode at some point, weren't we?
That was it. We just finished it.
Oh, okay. All right, we're good.
It's all done.
So all these things begin to come together in the 90s. So the early internet culture comes up. BBSs, IRC, Internet Relay Chat, zines move from paper to websites, manifestos, home pages, eventually bulletin board systems, not the kind you dial into, but like online bulletin boards, forums.
Oh, that's BBS. Thing. Okay, all right. No, I was thinking Brazilian butt smell. I just
no. That's a different.
That was a BBS operating out of New York.
Gotcha. Yeah. And, you know, to Dan's point, we could easily do a whole thing on BBSs. And like I said, Jason Scott did 8 hours on it.
Yeah.
But,
which is, you know, seriously, just go watch his stuff. It's better.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, there are things from that. There was a thing there called FidoNet, which was a way that messages got passed, but only when things were online. And it was kind of if you were part of FidoNet, you would agree to pass the messages on. FidoNet still exists.
Yep,
there are still bulletin boards, all that stuff, all that initial stuff. Again, it's like ham radio. It's still there. Not a lot of people are doing it, but if you had to, you could go find it. You could set your own up and you could be a part of that network. It's not gone.
Right.
Oh God, it's looking better every day, honestly.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. One of the greatest lies ever sold about the internet is that to put your own thing on the internet, you had to either use somebody else's computer or pay somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
Because the beauty of a bulletin board system is it ran on your own machine. It was was on that machine over there, sitting on your desk next to the fridge or what the hell ever. And people called your machine. Well, that can still be done on the internet. It just requires a little work.
Yeah. I mean, all these things, all the technologies still work. But, you know, AOL was kind of the beginning of this, where there were people when they got on AOL thought that AOL was the internet. Yeah. AOL had a gateway to the internet. But I remember installing Trumpet WinSock on Windows 95 and dialing up to an ISP and then firing up WinSock, which would do the decoding, and then firing up, you know, Netscape and doing my browsing through that, and never using AOL.
Right.
So, you know, that was the way around the walled. Then they called those walled gardens. And, you know, Facebook is just the latest. It's nothing new under the sun. They're just the latest and more powerful version of it. IRC is making a big comeback right now, a thing called Usenet, which are Usenet discussion groups, which are kind of like an internet bulletin board, I think is the best way to think of them.
It's not a forum, but it is a discussion group. Yeah,
it's a discussion group. But, you know, it's kind of that space between a bulletin board system and IRC. IRC is chat as you know it. It's real time. You know, Usenet is posting messages. And that is coming back. I know a couple of hacker groups out of Spain that they have moved primarily to that because it's the only place that they feel that they can achieve freedom because of the influence that Google and these tech companies have in the world. They've gone to the fringes. Cory Doctorow wrote this great book called Walk Away, and it is a cyberpunk book. You should read it. But the idea is that there are people who, in this futuristic society, and it's not that far into the future.
When was this written? 2017, right?
2017, yeah. Walk Away.
Yeah,
but people leave society and begin to go and work with the communists and the anarchists in the who live in the factories that have been shut down, and who bring the fab labs back up and make things, and they live in these, and they're not perfect societies, but what it is it's an allegory for people leaving these walled gardens and going to open source software or online communities. And they're not perfect, but they are on the fringes. And as the companies move further out onto the fringe, there is always someplace further to walk away to. And the modern equivalent of this that I think of is the Fediverse, Mastodon, and PixelFed, and these are alternatives, open source alternatives, publicly not public. I'm sorry, they're not corporate owned. They're usually nonprofits or a single person running them or something like that, that function in similar ways, in familiar ways to these corporate owned things. And they serve the same purpose, but yeah, they may not be as muggle friendly as these other systems, because they're not trying to make money off you.
And that was part of the draw. I mean, with a BBS, I mean, you can draw a straight line from a BBS to a Mastodon server. And one of the things about BBSing is you had to know something to get on. You had to be a certain height to ride the ride. So you had to have a computer. You had to have a modem with that computer and a phone line for that modem to plug into. You had to know how to use the modem. You had to have the software needed to call the BBS and to interact with the BBS. And that's in a way, it was kind of like Linux too, because there were different kinds of BBSs and they weren't all alike. So you could call one BBS and then hang up with that one and call another BBS. It looked and acted totally different. So you had to invest time.
Some were
becoming
very
part of this community,
and some were very polished. It was it was very Wild Westy.
It really was.
And Mastodon instances are like that. I mean,
exactly. You have to invest time to become part of a community. I'm a happy and proud member of the hackers.town Mastodon server. And I don't belong there. I mean, I've talked to the Gibson and I've talked to people on there. And the only reason I'm there really is because I was part of a librarian server that went down for like 2 or 3 weeks and I just thought it was dead. But that was a place where I could call home. And not everybody can sign up. You have to be approved. And then while you're there, you have to behave yourself because it's a community and they're trying to basically make it something that, people can be part of. And you want to talk about, a digital tribe, there you go. Because you don't integrate in a community just by showing up.
Yeah.
And some sysops are cool and some sysops are fucking dicks.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And there are hacker instances and there are open source instances and there are art instances and there are white supremacist instances and there are LGBT instances and there are anarchist instances. So, it's all of these fringe communities running on the same software, sometimes federating with one another, sometimes not. But that's kind of the idea of all of these different ways of communicating, and you have to choose them. And what has been disheartening to me in the modern times, when Twitter shit the bed, the biggest complaint I always heard was, it's hard. I have to learn something.
Yep, and you sure do.
Yeah, you sure do. I'm real sorry about that, but the people who make it easy for you just want your money and your data. Yeah. We're here to help you do something.
Right.
And to do something, you need to learn how something works.
While I was having while I was having my pee, I was something
Quick peek behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I was thinking too about, because you raised an interesting point, is back in the day, and I'm definitely of the MySpace era. It's definitely like the Blogspot era of like forums and
Find My Live Journal.
yes, actually, yeah.
I know exactly the time you're talking about.
You had such control over what you could present through these services if you just learned a little bit of HTML code.
Yeah.
Seems a lot simpler.
You could.
It was the last real personal instance of internet, in my opinion. Like I liked my MySpace page. I never wanted to leave.
I liked GeoCities.
GeoCities, yeah.
Well, you invested your time and some skill into it. It wasn't just signing up and posting pictures of your food. And some people really enjoy that. I'm not trying to dig on you, but the point is that you invested something in this.
Absolutely. I mean, you could still post a picture of your food, but you had to know what the hell an image tag was.
Yeah. What year are we at now?
We're coming up on your era. We're getting there. I'm almost there. So I was just saying that all these things still exist. You can still find them. You just have to dig a little and you have to know a little. But the great thing about the internet is most of the time things don't go away. So if you want to find a way to connect to an IRC server, either you already know someone who knows how to do it, or you can search for it and find it using a decent search engine, not Google, something else, DuckDuckGo.
Yeah.
So, the key thing about this period, I would say, is figuring out that decentralized tools can be digital weapons for autonomy and resistance.
And there's also a big, at least in my experience of using tools like BBSs in the late 90s, there was also a local aspect to it. The BBS we visited the most, I found out, was hosted in Lorton. I think, Dan, you tracked that down for me. And even though there was an anonymity because you're just a poster, it would be a lot of stuff set up to happen in the real world, to trade discs, books, music. The one that I dialed up the most was Bottled Violence. That's a DC kind of local thing, even though it's out in Lorton. Bottled Violence is a Minor Threat song. Minor Threat's a DC hardcore band, punk band. So again, another echo to the punk ethos of it. But we also would go on there for text files on, annotated anarchist cookbook, urban guerrilla stuff. Just
absolutely.
Real,
shit out of that stuff.
And watching porn, download one pixel wide at a time.
Absolutely.
Hentai, a lot of hentai. You couldn't just get anime. You couldn't just get manga anywhere. It was really a niche thing that you had to.
You would download GIFs because your computer would take too long to process a JPEG.
Another big one for me and my friends was gun cam footage. There's a lot of that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, downloading a song and then somebody would call.
Or dad pick up the phone. Yeah, I got you.
So the end of the 90s sees the beginning of the .com boom, the .com bubble.
This is the time.
There you go.
This is, it's funny. Another personal anecdote. I got my first job doing internet consulting because I knew a little bit of HTML. And that was, I did not learn programming. I went to college for medieval literature. So, but I figured if I could do Old English, I could learn to code.
Yep. I love that. Is my favorite line of reasoning ever.
That explains why I can't code.
That's incredible.
So, I the wrong love that goddamn
so much.
thing.
I mean, Scum, you'll appreciate it. I had to do my own translation of the first bit of Beowulf back in the
Fuck
day.
yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So, but I got into this. I got into my first consulting gig as the .com boom was taking off. And I got to, I'm going to tell you, friends, it was a good time. The money was flowing like water.
Oh, I fucking bet.
They flew me places. I went to classes. I learned things. I'm gonna say a word that anybody who ever did VB6 back in the day will hate: web classes. So, but the point is that there was this whole explosion, and a lot of people started getting into coding that did not have comp sci degrees. They were coming in from artistic degrees or academic degrees, or or no degrees at all. I and a number of people, I didn't finish college. I went for medieval literature. I never finished for reasons. So, but you could get into it at that point. Mm-hmm. And it has proven to be a good career. They paid programmers well. Yeah. Not like crazy money well. And when I did work for a startup, the stock options were useless. But my point is that this was an era where if you had a little bit of knowledge, you could make it work for you and then continue up the road. And so while the dot-com boom was good for programmers, at the end of it, which it kind of ends when AOL buys Time Warner.
Yeah.
Yep.
And things bust. And the post-dot-com bust and distrust of centralized technology. So AOL is one of the big primary ideas of centralized technology.
Mm-hmm. There's also a big rift with like the faith in hardware versus just like the ideas of communication and like how much money can actually be built on basically vaporware as opposed to actual
and it hasn't changed.
Technology.
One of my favorite things that has come out of The Verge is Nilay Patel's basic sort of theory that if you can't show it to me, it's vaporware and it's bullshit. And that's still like a thing. I mean, they're building a new AI thing. Show it to me, or it's bullshit. It's just vaporware.
Oh, that's like that. Lewis Black has that bit too. He's like, if you can't explain to me what it is that you do in one sentence, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
And
he's right.
It's like, what problem are you solving?
So if you wanna understand this period, and I'll also say if you want to understand what happened with cryptocurrency in the past few years, there is this fantastic book called The Corporation.
Oh yeah,
find the author. But it explores the beginnings of the idea of the limited liability corporation.
They made a documentary?
They made a documentary. Yeah, they made a documentary of it.
I have that shit on DVD. I didn't know there was a book.
Right. Yeah, the book is amazing. I've never seen the documentary.
Yeah,
but
Joel
so that entrepreneurial grifter, slick, meeting people in coffee shops and all of that. It's nothing new because it happened back in the 1640s.
Yeah, that checks out.
Right. But if you read this book, it's kind of like, oh, now it makes sense.
There was a
turns out that
segment
entrepreneur was a 4-letter word all along.
Yeah, not to derail this, but there was a segment in the documentary that always stood out to me where, and I think it was probably in the book, where they're talking about how we advertise to children and we're like one of the only nations that does this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And this lady was just like talking about kids like they're just numbers and products and stuff.
We call all of our fucking media programming.
Yeah.
My friends, I will tell you a story. I worked for, I'm going to say, a high-end appliance company. It's a prestige brand. I'm not going to name the name because they could sue me.
Major one.
I was sitting in a meeting, and one of the marketers, or one of the salespeople, said, "Well, we could open up a youth market because we can make teenage girls feel insecure about themselves, and then sell the blender as a health solution."
Oh, gee, that worked so well. That worked so well for everybody. Thank you so much.
Okay, Thorzid's wearing off. Somebody get him the Thorzid.
There's the link.
It's worked well for Instagram and all.
I've had this idea gestating for a real long time.
Gross.
About how, it's like a lump right here.
I thought you passed it. You said you passed that. You had the fiber. You passed
the poop. This is a new organ.
This is some Cronenberg shit. Yeah.
Sorry,
but it's this idea of like the perversion of language for marketing, like is just like a concept, just this idea, how it's been used by governments and whatnot. The idea was born basically the day I heard George W. Bush say something like evildoers in a speech, like honest to God, in front of like cameras and everybody. And I was just like, oh no, we're doing this. And now, in these days, like this whole, Trump handling the Epstein thing, like, oh, there is no Epstein thing. Like, what a rug pull, you piece of shit.
What the fuck?
Oh, the whole thing you've been talking about for a decade is now suddenly,
oh my god.
You're all over
Yeah.
it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What
are words?
But it's this weaponization of words.
Mhm.
The misuse of words, the calling it the big beautiful bill just because it's like sibilant, it's just all of these tactics and techniques that are used against us just on the everyday that no one's immune from.
Language is a battlefield.
Well, and all you have to do is hop on, a Facebook reel string or an Instagram reel string or TikTok or whatever, and you start hearing all of these new words that did not exist 5 years ago. And the reason these words exist now is because these people are trying to make something, call it content or whatever the hell you want to call it, but they can't use words like kill, or they can't use the word suicide. They can't, because why? Well, because then they will get paid, because the advertisers won't advertise along something that talks about that.
That's a good leaping off point for this, because I distinctly remember, it's 1999. Matrix came out. Holy shit. The internet looks radically different than what it does now, right?
Yeah.
There is no monetization. There's
much simpler.
There's corporatization, obviously. I think I got a computer. I'm trying to remember if if my family got a computer before or after 9/11. I think before. I still have the speakers. They're plugged into my computer right now.
Wow.
They're gateway.
They have seen.
Hell yeah.
They've seen some shit. Yeah, they've traveled. They still have the Gateway logo on them. Remember Gateway?
Oh man, Gateway.
Yeah.
I was going to mention them a little bit ago, just as like a.
I killed that computer
what
so
happened
hard.
to them, man?
I don't think we even had anything more advanced than dial-up until after 2001.
No, and that makes sense, because
I didn't have broadband until years later.
That's the other thing too, is like not everybody had a computer or even had like the latest up-to-date shit. But anyway,
dial-up until like 2006.
Yeah, like the point is that from my experience, we have to enter a world for. Not everyone had this experience, but it's the internet as a place to explore. This is, I'm, the only time I didn't really venture on forums too often until like later in high school. But this is a time period that, and you still can do this. It's just a little bit more difficult you can click links forever and find weird shit. Maybe shit you're not supposed to.
Yeah. Fucking having a laptop in college was.
Oh, but this is before that.
That exploded my brain.
Oh yeah.
That was the first time that I had that level of access.
Oh no. Well, here's the thing. I'm talking about.
I guess I still had Wikipedia in high school.
Sure, that's something that's still curated. I'm talking about finding things that like you're not maybe not necessarily supposed to. But the point is like it was a lot easier to have a website. You had, especially when I was in high school, so you had like Blogspot, LiveJournal. I think I was an anime nerd, so I was in like Gaia Online. If you were anime, you know, it was a very that was even something that was highly customizable if you know a little bit of HTML.
Right.
It was the sense of, and we get to enter a world of horror with this. This is how I got into like weird. This is how I got into like fiction and horror and
Rotten.com.
A lot of people Rotten.com.
Rotten.com. Something awful.
There was a lot of weird shit online. Like you could find, God, this will always live with me. I found like a sorcerer's website where, like describing the satanic rituals he occupied and the weird ghost hunting. And he was just like this doofus with like a handlebar mustache and glasses, just standing with his arms crossed. It was so much easier to just have whatever, and it was both a blessing and a curse, because then you got like 2 Girls 1 Cup, then you got or you could go on Blogspot and just read people's inner thoughts and like work and links, and like you would find their artwork or like stuff they would promote, and like it was a time period of just finding shit from one place to another, from another to another, and it felt a lot more real than the, like you were saying, the walled gardens we have now, because at least there were you tended a little garden basically, and it could be as unhinged as you wanted it to be.
And I think you're hitting on something that kind of dovetails with the very beginning of this about pseudonyms and that sort of thing and chosen identities.
Yeah, as much as you want to
reveal
give
to yourself.
Yeah,
if you could, this is like my fourth handle on the internet because I outgrow them.
Yeah,
but everybody, I knew people that were bloggers or on LiveJournal. On LiveJournal, you didn't use your real name. You had a pseudonym. But
Angel
under
Fire.
Under that pseudonym, you could say the most private things, the most authentic things, the most vulnerable things, and find people who knew what you meant.
And the interesting thing is, too, because the reason I guess I wanted to spiel about this is because I was feeling, I have had a rough few days. And for some reason, I found myself going on the archive.org and going on to Blogspot circa 2001.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the amount of, and my automatic thing, because the internet has poisoned my brain, modern internet, is you're reading these this from the past. And I'm like, well, they could be like this, someone who's obviously like a child, like a high school girl writing about their life. And I'm reading it and I'm like, well, they could just make this up. And then I'm thinking about it and I'm like, this is probably the most authentic I think anyone's ever been.
Yeah.
And then I find like an artist who I look it up. They're still around looking for work 25 years later from this blog spot from 2001,
Yeah.
That's wild. That's what I find.
It's fascinating.
People when they're really honest with me about something or they're saying something very, very private. Why lie? Why lie about it?
Yeah.
Well, I feel modern internet's kind of made us cynical. Yeah, it's definitely made us cynical where it's I could feel the empathy and the connection when people are having these little journals or even our own personal website.
Yeah.
Because then they would be like, hey, here's my book or coffee shop. Here's a link for it. You could come here, it was, again, that would lead you either to very sweet things like that. Or, I'm looking on someone's blog where they like to record going to abandoned places in New Jersey. And then they... hey, I'm a sorcerer.
And there was personal technology at the time that helped you find other people within that tribe because, it's one of those things that we all used to see it, I'm sure. But now, how many times have you seen a web ring in the last 3 days? Used to be every friggin' blog, every website, anything that was sort of personal like that had a web ring, and you could click the link and go to the next website in the ring and find more of the same or something, slightly different, but there was a theme to it.
There were some record labels back in the day that had some really cool websites. You'd click on a thing and a panel would move and they would take you into something else way before anybody else was doing that shit.
Well, right. And your blog, your blog page would have the links section, and the links section were either things that, and the homepage, the homepage didn't start off as just a place to talk about yourself. It was the place your browser opened up to.
Right.
So it had all the links on it that you would want to go and visit. But other people could visit it too.
I can't remember using a search engine back then.
Yeah.
I think I rarely.
No, you just had to know about places to go to.
Yeah.
Or you used a directory.
Or a directory.
I was there for that a little bit, but like I said, I did not have
you were talking
widespread I kind of came in around 2007, so pretty much the internet had been colonized at this point.
My school had, that's a thing. In high school, we had computer labs and whatnot. So this is, but the point is I don't. You weren't restricted by a search engine because, again, Google, whatever, gives you a very limited scope of what you're looking for, unless what you're looking for is hyper specific and really vague, like the body modding stuff I found that we're going to be talking about at some point. But
there was also this just. If there's anything I'm feeling that cool, refreshing nostalgia for, is the idea that you would be honest online, and the idea that an AI would be scraping your fucking shit
Yeah.
It wasn't even an occurrence in your brain. Like, we
Yeah.
were so
Right.
fucking dumb. You know what I mean? Like we were just so like.
But that's the interesting thing, CoinOps, is that the cypherpunks, going back to 1992, foresaw that sooner or later someone was going to pull that shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's fucking obvious. It's so clear.
Right.
I
No,
mean,
it wasn't. Not to the vast majority of people who were just
Yeah,
like,
right.
I'm
Like
gonna
in
make-
retrospect, it just seems like that's pretty obvious because
I mean,
we all
under-
had ourselves fucking fooled.
Under pseudonyms, I've posted like long, detailed descriptions of acid trips I had in my teens, and it's not like
God,
not
I hope
something I
that
would have
got
put my
archived.
name on.
So
I
you're the
remember
reason.
when-
So you're the reason all the AI is hallucinating. I got it. We found the bug,
So-
people.
I remember when
Neither virus,
Yahoo
zero.
when Yahoo groups became a thing, and
Yeah.
Google groups became a thing, and
Mhm.
mailing lists and bulletin and forums kind of merged, so they were web accessible. I remember running a speaking of communities, I ran a list of about 40 people that was called Pagans with Lives, and it was people who, one of the big complaints a lot of us had with the neo-pagan community back in the late 90s was a lot of folks used their faith at that time or the rituals or the community as an escape, as opposed to something, those of us with careers and families and that sort of thing, a different sort of responsibility, where you couldn't just drop out and go to the festival and, sleep around and, live in the 60s or whatever. So, but my point is that, it gave us a way to connect. And while now, to your point, Shelley, now I would look at that and say, oh, well, of course they were reading all of that. Of course they were scraping all of that.
Yeah, right.
But back at that time, no one thought of that. And also, a lot of times, the processing power to really make sense of it wasn't there. It wasn't really until big data in like 2008, 2009, that capability even became really seriously possible at scale.
Yeah, it's like I don't think like the vast majority of people were like besides like the stuff that's like obviously either not honest, fucked up, or creepypasta. I think people were much more open and much more honest about the weird shit. Like they taught us to like don't talk to strangers online. That's all we did. Yeah.
So I'm going to bring it back to my notes now because this has been fun, but I want to. So the other thing that begins to appear at this time are mesh networks. So let me explain a mesh network. A mesh network is a decentralized structure where a device communicates with nearby nodes. It's kind of a private internet. Yeah. So we could have a private internet where my computer and Scum's computer and Coin, all of us, all the computers could talk to each other in maybe a central server, and we could have our own bulletin boards, and we could share files, and we could do all this.
So basically, like a town internet, like a town hall,
more or less, yeah. They're self-healing, just like the internet. These are censorship resistant because they are not happening on the broadband wires of the main internet. Yeah. Okay. They're off-grid capable, so the nodes talk to each other, usually through Wi-Fi, not over the phone lines. So that's really important because they're not using corporate or government network hardware. Nice. So examples of this: Freefunk in Germany, RoofNet up at MIT, Commotion Wireless. I remember there's a good friend of mine that I met through podcasting. That's another thing that happens at this point. Podcasting, 2005. Mm-hmm. But a friend of mine who I met through podcasting worked with a group that were installing mesh networks in Cuba. And the idea was creating community resistance by setting up small Wi-Fi routers that talk to other small Wi-Fi routers and allowed computers to talk to one another. But if you didn't have the keys, you couldn't get in.
Right.
Okay. So it's the rise of that, plus the rise of crypto tools, a thing called OTR messaging, off the record messaging. It's a protocol that the modern descendants of is like Signal or some of these other, encrypted messaging, basically. Encrypted vanishing messaging. And then, has anybody here heard of the Tor browser?
Yeah. Literally used it today.
I heard that. Maybe it's not as secure as we thought it was, but
well, okay. It depends. It depends on what you're talking about. Nothing created in the past is as encrypted, is as secure as it could be in the present. That's just the way of things. However, I know they're doing good work over there to shore some of that stuff up. But because it's not as secure as it could be doesn't. Security is not a binary thing. It's not an on-off. It's a spectrum, right? Let's be honest. Leaving a USB drive for your friend behind a brick in a building that only you two know is probably more secure than sending it to them over the internet in plain text right now.
It absolutely is. Yeah.
So there are problems with both.
There's a great
just leave a USB drive at a medieval times.
Yeah, there's
exactly.
There's a great song by a nerdcore hip hop rapper called MC Frontalot called "Secrets from the Future," and part of the song goes that you can't hide secrets from the future with math, because anything that you do today to encrypt whatever it is you're encrypting will be broken in the future. We have to wait for the computers to get better so they can do the math. And that is why, if you get into the world of quantum computing, that people are freaking the fuck out, because all of the encryption that is used today by most people for HTTPS and PGP and all that stuff, quantum computing can break it.
Yeah, unfortunately, the best form of security is just writing on a piece of paper and making sure that it gets to the other person.
It
and then,
really is.
Right now, right.
Like, that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's lots. Obviously, security and cybersecurity and physical security is very fertile ground. There's a lot to go into there. But so for anybody who's listening to this, we all went, we know what Tor is. I will explain what Tor is. Tor stands for the Onion Router, and it's a network that ensures or enables privacy. Maybe doesn't ensure it. Enables privacy by routing by routing requests through a series of routers and coming out in exit nodes in different places. So, instead of going from my computer directly to the New York Times, it might go from my computer to Britain, to Sri Lanka, to Poland, and then
it's like a VPN on a VPN on a VPN on a VPN.
Yeah,
kind of, sort of. Yeah,
well, kind of, sort of. A VPN is actually a point-to-point thing. So you are secured between all the traffic goes from your computer to the VPN server and then out from there.
Yeah.
Tor is.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
This is one of those things that there's a lot of. Again, there's a lot. You may not have read it. Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. But there's a lot of conversation about which is more secure, a VPN or Tor, and the answer is always it depends on what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
But don't use the two together, because that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
No, it doesn't.
But the point is that Tor becomes a thing at this time, and one of Dan's notes here, I'm just going to yank it from you, is that it really tells you something about the state of the world. People are more willing to use a much slower network and put up with that level of inconvenience because they don't trust their governments.
Yeah.
So go on.
And the thing about Tor is it does what you hear about in all the hacker movies, where a hacker character will talk about how they got into this computer by bouncing between this city and that city, and they logged into that computer over there, and then they VPN'd into this thing, and that way they're covering their tracks. Tor just basically automates that process.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember. Go ahead.
No.
Please.
No, I had a couple of friends back in the day, both have passed, but they were really excited about Tor when it happened. And they were like, hey, you should try this out. This is really cool. This is a way to, it's a direct pipeline. Instead of fucking around, it just goes from you to them, and only you and them can read it. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So I was like, it took some time and they talked me through it and I figured it out. And I was like, well, this is really neat. I don't know exactly what I need this for. And then I went to 4chan with it.
Yep.
And they banned my IP. I was not allowed to go back to 4chan from that address ever again using that computer. And I was like, how does this work? Like, what the fuck? What are they expecting? What do they think is happening here? Like,
I can't hit my bank from the Tor network.
Right. Yeah.
Because let's be honest. If you're going to enable encryption and anonymity, that will also breed crime.
Sure.
It just will. It just will.
It's almost like criminals have been doing everything in the shadows all along.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at what ICE is doing.
Yeah.
Well, I guarantee that people in this room and people listening to the show have committed at least one felony because they've been on the internet.
Probably by accident.
I said at least one.
Mine was intentional.
At least. Yeah, same.
I knew what I was doing.
Yep.
Look, it wasn't even worth it. It was episode 3. It was
right. I know,
now,
right?
Now repeat that slowly into my lapel.
So at the same time, 3D printing begins. DIY culture expands. Yeah. People begin to do some body modification with RFID implants.
We were so excited about this shit in college.
My God. It was the future.
Small, lightweight computers begin to be made, Arduino boards and Raspberry Pi. Yeah. Raspberry Pi is just a small computer that is a small, cheap computer under $100. But, my website and the streaming server that I run when I did the music for the last show and stuff, that's all running off of a Raspberry Pi sitting on my desk in front of me.
The things that people do with Raspberry Pis is astounding to me. Like, it's always some DIY project. Like, this guy made a motorcycle and he slapped a Raspberry Pi inside as the fucking process.
So one of the greatest projects out there for Raspberry Pi is a thing called a Pi hole.
Oh, yeah. God.
And a Pi hole. So a Pi hole.
Keep saying
is okay. Do you know what a DNS server, domain name server? No. So when you type in lowlifepodcast.com, which doesn't exist, but will after this show, or neondystopia.com, the internet, your browser doesn't know what the fuck that means.
Right.
But it goes to the Internet Phone Book, a DNS server, and says, what's the IP address, which is a set of 4-digit numbers, 192.168.0.64 or something.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And translates it to that, and then sends it out there. So it does that for every URL that your browser opens. Now, let me tell you, any website you go to, any modern website you go to, will open hundreds of URLs. Some of them to the domain you're going to, some of them to advertisers or Google or Facebook or whatever. A Pi hole is a thing you plug in on your network and you tell your computer, I would like you to use the Pi hole as my primary DNS server. And the Pi hole downloads a list. And it says, what it does is, it says, google.com equals 0.
Oh.
Adsite.com equals 0. So when it goes to try to find or connect or send your information or whatever to these sites, they get zeroed out and it never makes it. It speeds up your internet speed. It speeds up the web browser render time, so your pages load faster, and it's kind of like it's like the nuke of ad blockers.
Yeah, it's ad block for your entire network.
Imagine Sisyphus with a Pi hole.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is just a long commercial. This is just a long ad for fucking Raspberry Pi, isn't it?
Well,
it's actually a long commercial for Linux because guess what?
If anything, and actually, the punchline is at the end. We're getting there. I promise you, I will get to it. But the punchline is at the end. So it was so good that Dan wants to steal it. So the 2000s through 2009, again, Fab Labs, 3D 3D printer, hacker spaces become a thing. Make Magazine starts coming out. Mythbusters becomes a thing.
Yeah, you have no idea what Mythbusters did for the maker movement, because you've got two guys that, I mean, to say that, that they're,
God, there's going to be someone listening to this who has no idea what Mythbusters is.
No
that
kidding, right?
terrifies me.
But they're so lucky.
But the fact that you would have the fact that you have these two guys and the rest of their crew, of course, making things, and watching Mythbusters and thinking, I can make that, is kind of like watching the New Yankee Workshop with Norm Abram and thinking you're a master carpenter all of a sudden.
Sure.
Yeah,
But
I know
you
a
could
guy.
probably draw a direct line from Mythbusters to Ocean Gate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
you really could. But
no,
the
but
thing
you're right.
is, I mean,
it demystified fabrication. I remember there was a number of maker spaces that sprung up.
With the fucking game controller.
Yeah.
I remember seeing some things on that, and just the thought that this leads to in people is, oh well, I can do that.
Exactly, and that is the release. That's the freedom when you think I can do that, and maybe you can. Maybe you can't do it the first time. And that's the thing. You watch Jamie and Adam, and everybody thinks of Adam because Adam Savage has taken, a very public role, and he's well known in the community and all that. Well, Jamie has kind of like just faded back, and he does his thing. When it comes to the two of them, Jamie Heineman is the most dangerous of the two, easily. This is a man that competed in Robot Wars and had a robot that was banned multiple times because it was too fucking dangerous. It literally was a saw blade on wheels, and any robot that came into contact was not only eviscerated, shit was flung over the barriers into the audience.
Fuck.
There were multiple times that
I did not expect to hear this today, but that's that's so fucking cyberpunk. Holy shit.
There were multiple times that his robot, I believe it was called Blindo, was simultaneously disqualified while automatically being made a co-winner of the tournament because they didn't want him to further compete. It was too fucking dangerous. And if you think that was too dangerous, this is also the same guy that for a commercial made a Sprite can, what do you call it? Like a Sprite vending machine, like a, where you buy cans of Sprite out of a vending machine. He put it on tracks like a tank, and the thing fired full cans of Sprite out of the vending machine.
You see, he took the wrong message from Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah.
See, but if you're in your 20s and you're watching this is how you get potato cannons.
This is exactly how you get.
Speaking of, I knew someone who lost an eye to a potato can.
Honestly,
go ahead.
It's one of the first things that we would download from file sharing sites and BBSs was specs for potato cannons, like better and more. I don't want to say lethal, more functional ones. That you can like light with electric spark. We can like have multiple barrel. There's a lot of really interesting stuff. But there was that sort of stuff that you could also get by seeking it out online through places that you could go to.
And it becomes this full circle, though, because hacking originally wasn't a software activity. It was hardware. And it was whether it was, and it was before computer hardware, it was this kind of stuff. It was physical shit you'd make in your garage. That was hacking.
Yeah,
and
it was doing hot rod shit. It was like boring out your fucking engine so that that's why I like that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's that idea, that desire to make the thing you have better.
And if you have that, you can do it with anything.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was planned this way. It probably wasn't, because if it was, this is too perfect. The only person on the show, Mythbusters, that had like a college degree in doing what they were actually doing was Grant Imahara.
Of course,
he was
they were really fucking sketchy with the scientific method on that show.
Well, no, it's not even the scientific methodology. You didn't watch it for the science. Fuck the science. You watched
That's why you watch Jackass.
Exactly, because physics works. But Grant Imahara, I believe, had a degree in electrical engineering or something like that. But Jamie has a degree in like Russian literature.
Right.
Adam, I'm not even sure what his degree is in. I'm sure he has a degree, but these guys are just making special effects. That's what they did. It was like there used to be a TV show called FX where it was a guy that would like solve crimes by making special effects shit. It was really fucking entertaining, and Mythbusters just basically took that to another level.
There were two movies with, I believe, Brian Dennehy and not Michael Caine.
Right.
Yep, the other guy. I know who you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I can't remember his name was. I can't remember his Brian.
One of them had a.
We'll have to look it up.
Yes, and there was like a clown that was a murderous clown in one of them. So why the fuck am I remembering this? Okay, go ahead.
So again, you've got so at the beginning of that decade, you've got the .com bust, the disillusionment, but the understanding from a bunch of people that were trained up during the .com boom, and that were coming out of colleges that like, well, shit, I can do this myself. Right. I can set up my own wireless router. I can set up my own encryption tunnels. I can have computers talk to one another. I can do this without using the main networks. And so you get these autonomous tech literate microcultures that are forming offline and online and beginning to blur the line and becoming the thing that in the 2010s we would begin to call a cyber tribe.
Right.
Now,
and you would get levels of people who would work together because there's always someone that's better at something than you are.
Yes.
So you get like one of the things that Raspberry Pis are well known for, as well as Arduino chips, is making robots. Well, you would get someone who's really good at making the hardware for the robot and wiring all of that stuff together, but they suck at coding. Well, they could get into a group and find someone who sucks at hardware, but they're great at coding. So I hate to use the word, but it is the word that fits. You get a synergy.
That's a real thing. No, that's a real thing. Yeah. Like depending on who you're working with, if you're vibing right, that's a thing. Yeah. It's not quantifiable.
Yeah, it's not
bottle up our fucking emotions in America, but sometimes people set you off, and sometimes people just.
I think that's really a Midwest thing, honestly, bottling up everything.
Oh yeah.
You fucking gotta.
That's what made the East Coast so hard. Anyway, go ahead.
So, cyber tribe. They define a cyber tribe as a semi-autonomous group using tech, symbols, and rituals to forge community across digital and real-world space. Now, a place that I found this was in a paper, the International Journal of Music, Science, Technology, and Art, in a paper called Cultural Co-Resonance and Cosmopolitan Music Identities in the Dagban Hip Life Zone in Tamale of northern Ghana.
Interesting. Well, I like it.
Yeah.
All right.
But the idea that comes out of this is that these groups exist everywhere, but they did this study particularly here. But people who identify over music, fashion, and in some cases shared tools and eventually encryption can form these collectives, these groups, these cyber tribes. And they exist online and offline. And I think that, and I can't prove this, but I am willing to bet that some of this exists through things like Burning Man, or what's the cyberpunk Burning Man that's out there?
Oh yeah, right.
But these groups that kind of come together once in a while, but exist offline, and they communicate digitally until they get together in the real world.
The old rave scene.
Burner culture is that the wasteland scene is like that.
Yeah, I saw really interesting.
Old raves.
Oh yeah. Cool. I saw a really interesting video on the shamate culture in China, which was just a bunch of rural kids who moved to the city because that's where all the jobs were, and then you have these crushing jobs in factories. So they all they're basically the same as fucking emo kids or scene. Really, that's what it is. It's scene. That's the origin.
Yeah, it's
that's
different.
My original cyber tribe,
exactly.
which is fucking embarrassing.
The thing like the goth industrial scene in DC in the late '90s was very much the same. Bleed over with the BDSM scene, bleed over with like the LARP scene, but a lot of us were also at that time online communicating, giving each other addresses for BBSs to check out, for forums to check out, meeting each other like locally. Not a lot of us lived in like the DC metro area diaspora, but like centered on DC, the culture basically.
Well, any subculture, and you could go deeper in that too, even with sexuality. Gay culture has unfortunately have to be insular because a lot of people were prejudiced, like for a great deal of history, or like you were saying, like BDSM, like a lot of, so it's interesting that you put it under like the cyber tribe catch-all,
part of that is this paper and some of the other things I read, but really cyber tribes come about because of the generations that are even younger than us that are real digital natives. In their youth spent more time online with their friends than offline with their friends, or at least in closer to a 50-50. And so, and comes with that is you will have a subset of that group that are the hacker types that want to do the infrastructure and just know how to build these things. These are the kids that cut their teeth on Roblox and Minecraft hacking and that kind of thing. And, get into this and can set up their own networks, or even more so in these days, as much as offline mesh networks are a thing. But the idea of using a technology called WireGuard to create encrypted networks between people's computers so that they can talk to one another and no one can eavesdrop.
Right.
Interesting.
This is this is the way, like I've got a couple friends that we share Jellyfin servers together.
Right. Yeah.
And
Dan, you and I are set up this way through Tailscale.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've got.
Well, hey, as long as you're consenting adults,
absolutely right? Yeah. I mean, I'll show you my Jellyfin if you'll show me yours. But I've got something like. Word? Yeah, I don't even remember how many movies or whatever I have. It's in the thousands. Because I'm a librarian and I hoard, but it's just, it allows them to, if they need to see something or they want to see something that's on my system, they can totally see it. I don't care. And this runs deep into, my core beliefs as a librarian, where it's like, not only is my shit available for others to use, but God damn it, it's properly cataloged too. Just the new, like Groove just said about this whole WireGuard thing, being able to do this in a sort of a VPN style ring it's absolutely amazing. I mean, you talk about, magic technology, when I know how this technology works and it's still magic to me. It's like, oh, this is,
So, if you want to find to point at modern examples, we can do that, but I want to talk a little bit about it in fiction. Again, Cory Doctorow tends to be on the forefront of a lot of this.
Yes, he does.
So taking a look at his books, Walk Away, again, is a really good one that gets into cyber tribes. These are folks that are highly technical, but also kind of walk away and form their own communities and their own societies. The book Little Brother, which is pretty much a how-to.
It's absolutely a how-to disguised as a novel.
It's really good.
It's a how to resist the government disguised as a novel. It gave birth to an operating system called Tails. It has in that book. There's a thing called Paranoid OS.
Mm-hmm.
That is OS that you can run from a CD-ROM, that you can do all of your private shit with. Take it out, and there is no trace left on the computer.
That's
that
awesome.
Eventually gave birth to a project that just merged with the Tor project called Tails, which is an operating system. You run from a USB drive. You can plug it into almost any computer, boot it up, do your shit, get off, and there's no trace.
I like it.
And for those who care, TAILS is actually an acronym for the Amnesic Incognito Live System. It literally is designed to remember nothing that you do.
Yes. I like that.
Cool. So you could just let's say, so you can boot that, but let's say, okay, I have a computer, right? It has an operating system. Can I boot that as a side, on BIOS as a side instance?
Yeah.
That's literally
I have a TAILS USB on my keyring.
That's fascinating.
And I can walk into just about any library in the country because, sorry, Dan, libraries don't lock down their systems very well.
No, they do not. But
if I can,
in this case, I'm okay with it.
But yeah, I would say you've got a 50% shot of just being able to pop it in there and boot from the USB.
Right.
It's people are better about it than they used to be, but
pretty sure it's what Snowden used.
Yeah,
to do his communications. Yeah, because TAILS by default uses the Tor network. If you launch a browser on TAILS, it's using the Tor network. You have
okay.
So, real world examples of this. There's NYC Mesh, which is an equitable community run internet access in New York. There's I'm going to mispronounce this. I think it's Guifi, GUIFI.net, which is a massive cooperative in Spain, or Wireless PT, which is a privacy focused network in Portugal. But it's using, the key developments of this period really are encrypted comms have gone mainstream. I mean, you have the FBI telling people to use Signal now. There's a program called Briar, which it's kind of an offline networking messaging protocol that basically you can type it, and then when your buddy gets online, it'll pick up the message. It's not instant messaging like directly point to point, but it tends to be very anonymous. I think I'm screwing that up because I didn't do enough.
Somebody has to look to see it, right?
Right.
So you're not getting pinged, and it's not holding it somewhere in another, a cloud and somebody else's computer.
Yeah.
All right.
There's this merging of wearable tech and cybergoth and biopunk aesthetics and things like that. People, the artistic community that likes to play with technology is starting to flourish. There are people doing the thing from the Gibson novel, in the Blue Ant series with the.
Oh, you're talking about pattern recognition. Oh no, you're talking. Recognition. Okay, no. You're talking about Zero Spook Country.
Spook Country. Yeah. The AR art. I mean, and I can tell you, some of these things are fairly serious. I remember. So I worked for a major greeting card company at one point, and we were trying to find a way to use AR to allow someone to leave a digital card for someone at a location, and you could pick it up with your cell phone, but you could hold up your camera and see it sitting on the table.
Right.
I remember when that was like the next fucking big thing.
Right. Yeah. It never went anywhere, but we did a proof of concept and it was really cool. But these ideas of how do you merge these realities in some way?
I mean, we do have Pokemon Go.
I was going to say,
So it's not dead, and it could become more of a thing in the future. But yeah, right now, I don't think people are super receptive to it. Unless,
geocaching too.
Yeah,
geocaching is kind of that.
Yeah,
Apple's stupid AR VR goggles.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the problem. I mean, there's just so much involved with it that it's it's one of those things that this is a solution looking for a problem. And
yes,
what am I supposed to do with my hands?
Yeah, Pokemon Go provided a solution. And say what you want about it, but that is one of the things. One of the things I was also going to bring up, especially because I brought up pattern recognition for a reason. Seriously, it's probably my second favorite Gibson novel. But the another Cybertribe that exists in it is the FFF, the Found Footage Forum, and where the main character, who is also named Case, and that's not an accident, is basically like part of this group who is watching these these videos and trying to piece together who's making them and what they mean. And she is just part of a larger group that's trying to figure this all out, and they're all working together, and they,
it's like a whole online video art scene, and it's kind of crosses over with Russian mafia. It's really good.
See, that's fascinating.
It is. And
it makes me think of don't fuck with cats.
Exactly, and it's one of those things where this also predated YouTube.
Yeah.
So
right.
It's like the opposite of Pulse.
And so something else that comes out of this period, because of as much the pandemic as anything else, but people were doing it before then, digital nomads.
Yeah.
People using encryption and self-hosted systems, moving from place to place, trying to be anonymous because they don't necessarily where they work should not be important to their employer.
Yes.
And everything is still kind of growing, evolving, still federating, Meshtastic networks, IPFS, the Fediverse, all these things, tech-enabled resistance, community, and cultural autonomy are all coming out of this. And so, you're seeing, people like to joke about Mastodon and, it's just Twitter and it's Twitter for nerds and all that. Well, all of this was for nerds at one point. So fuck you.
Yeah.
But also, I could stand up my own microblogging network right now for my friends.
Yep.
And not have to pay anybody except for the hosting unless I do it on my computer at home. And even then I'm paying for the connection, but it's not run by a corporation and we could sit and talk all we want. So, you don't have to have the corporation run your social network.
Right.
You don't have to sell your data for connection.
It just to have some semblance of control over how you want to communicate or how you want to present. Man, I shouldn't have mentioned it because now I keep thinking about, I miss HTML websites where I can just customize my shit. Like,
well, I think I come from a different perspective, only slightly, but like coming up, everything was pretty cut and dry, pretty corporate, a very kind of funneled lifestyle, and
it's what was in the box. It's like you weren't fucking with it. You were just kind of like, well, this is the thing I use, and that's it. And that's the vast majority of people.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is that coming up with that, like I've always kind of lived underneath a sort of surveillance state. And
the cows watched you,
Yeah. You like to give me shit for that, but
I do.
But no, I mean, living in a rural town is like still fucking rough.
That's why every time you say the surveillance state, I just laugh.
Yeah.
It's like, because the cows
it's fucking everywhere, dude. Everywhere there's an internet connection. And anyways, point being, my point being, I've kind of always lived out in the open because I knew that, in a public area, I can't really hide. So
and
I think I'm kind of with Dan on that, in that, like, why I do understand why some people want to be private, but me personally, I feel as though, like, who fucking cares? Like,
I totally get that, because up until relatively recently, you could find me behind a front desk at a public library. So exactly how private can I be there?
Yeah, I mean, you can fucking find me. The only place I go to is work.
Yeah. And the to go back to something Scum said, with I miss the days of HTML websites. In the last few years, one of the things that has kind of taken off as a sort of project amongst the nerds is something called a static site generator, where you can basically create a blog or a website or whatever, and you do all the work on your local computer, and then through various means or whatever, you basically do something that says publish this, and all it does is in the background it creates a shitload of HTML pages. But the thing is HTML is real fucking fast. It doesn't have to build it like WordPress does, because every time you visit a WordPress blog, it typically has to build what you see in the background to serve it to you. Same with Ghost, same with anything else. And with these, these static site servers, you can you have that speed, you have that quickness.
The other thing about static site generators, they're very hard to hack. There's no code running.
Yeah, there's nothing there. It's just text.
There's nothing there to hack. There's no database. There's no login. It's just pages. That my personal website is a static site generator that I've modified. And I write my thing in Markdown, and I hit a button, and it goes, and it goes over to the Raspberry Pi on my desk, and everybody can read whatever stupid shit I wanted to say that. So now we're at the present. And, Cybertribes, we're kind of a cyber tribe. Our Discord is a cyber tribe. We have a way of talking, and if I have any, while I love how people have formed groups and are dissatisfied with things the way they are, my biggest criticism is that people aren't taking the time to learn the skills to fucking do something about it.
Yeah.
It's easy to sit in bitch. And it's because we're exhausted, and it's because people are exhausting, and they're doing it on purpose. They're, quote, flooding the zone and all of that. But
sure,
this is part of managing information in the information age. You don't have to know everything. If it's important, it'll get to you. But use that time to be creative, be anti-authoritarian. Yeah. Maybe be a little invisible or intentionally invisible. Real world cyberpunk lives in those mesh nodes with wearable code and reclaimed streets. And the point is that we need to do the things to take it back. And if you don't feel like you've got the skills, I guarantee you know somebody who knows somebody who does. Because there are a lot of us out there. And a lot of us are pretty quiet. We're not all the Gibson running our own network out there, but even he
helping to create Valid and stuff like that,
right? Helping to create these great pieces of future networks and encryption and all that. But even he will tell you there's always someone who knows more than you.
Yeah,
always be noobing.
Always be noobing. Exactly.
Always be noobing.
Yeah. I can tell you, I didn't know as much about Linux last year at this time as I know now. And I didn't know as much 2 years ago as I knew last year. Yeah. And, I'm nowhere. If I can learn this shit, anyone can learn this shit. And maybe you don't learn my shit. I really like coding. I really like writing software. I don't like writing software for other people. I like writing stuff that I can use. And
I'm solving my own fucking problems. Thank you.
Right. But I like solving my own fucking problem and then putting it out there and saying, maybe you have a problem.
Exactly.
That this would 100%. Be good for. And that's how open source works. You scratch your own itch, you put it out there, and maybe someone picks it up. Some projects get real big, some don't. But the point is that all these technologies, when us olds look back and say, it was so much better back then, all of it is still there. All of it is still accessible. You can still sit down with a text editor and write a web page with nothing but HTML and put it up. And as a matter of fact, it's never been easier to do so because of things like self-hosting and things that help you self-host. Like I know Dan uses... what's the name of the thing that you're using to do a lot of your self-hosting?
Well, the name of the project is YUNO-Host, but it's spelled literally YUNO host. So I always say YUNO-Host. That's what I say in my head. But it's YUNO-Host. In other words, why are you not hosting your own shit?
I thought it was.
No, and that's literally what I say in my head.
That is actually the best. That's actually the best use of that meme, though.
Well, and it's the same thing as
my brain rot. Just leave
in Linux. In Linux, there's a command called sudo, sudo, and I say that slowly because I had to trick my brain into saying that because that's sudo. It's fucking sudo. Yes. I know. I don't care what people say. I know what it means. Yes, I'm saying it wrong. I don't care. So But yeah, I mean, something like that was a godsend because I was hosting some of my own shit before I discovered this project. And it was just like, okay, well, it's kind of a pain in the ass, but I'm willing to do the work. And then I come across this thing. It's like, wait a minute, this just does all the hard shit for me. It's kind of like, if you go to a regular old web host like, DreamHost or, things like that, or GoDaddy or whatever, where they literally have a panel. It's like, install WordPress, install a gallery, install your own freaking social network, whatever. You could do that with this, except it's literally running off of I think that's a 6-year-old laptop that it's currently running off of. So, but to sort of back up what Gru's saying, we're nerds. So we're talking about, Gru and I especially are nerds. We're talking about, coding and all of the mesh networks and all the things you do. Yeah, Gru and I are the nerds. The other 3 members of this podcast, am I missing someone? 4 members? 4. Sorry. It's late. I have had 2 beers. The other 4 members of this podcast are fucking artists and never discount art. Never discount art. If you can't write code,
guys like Dan and Gru.
If you can't write code, it's fine. If you can't program in Perl, it's fine.
It's like what Gru was saying about language. Like, I cannot. I do not have a mind for language outside of like the English language itself. I cannot learn a language.
And as a librarian, because this is kind of within my wheelhouse, let me tell you that cataloging systems has been around for hundreds of years. There's all kinds of cataloging systems. No one talks about the fucking cataloging systems. They talk about the books that were cataloged. That's the important thing. Make the goddamn art. If that's what you're good at, then do it.
Yeah. So yeah, you can find someone to help. I mean, I didn't provide that much help, Scum, when you were having trouble with the website, but
it felt like it.
Pop onto the Discord and ask.
But that's all you needed to do, because most of us are happy to help.
Yeah.
It's we would rather use our powers for good.
Yeah, that's really the biggest benefit, I think, of the Discord. Thank you guys for helping us out.
Of course. Of course. If I could do anything to the current Neon Dystopia website, I would love to turn it into a static site then. Just to get it off of
but as a guy who's running
that's a thing. That's a thing.
And as a guy who's running a podcast off a WordPress blog, I looked into doing like a static site, and it's like, oh Jesus, no.
I immediately perked up.
I have things to do.
So this is a conversation we can have offline. It's gotten easier.
It has, but the work.
But the point being, yes, there's transition. But the point being is, there are a lot of ways to find ways to get off of corporate systems and onto things that you control, or that people control and not corporations.
Yeah, that sounds ideal.
And there are things that you can do. Use encrypted tools. Use Signal to talk to people. Get your friends to switch to Signal. Use Proton Mail instead of Gmail. Can it be free? Yes. If you pay for it, you get some better tools. But that's okay. I use Proton for my mail, my calendar, my VPN. They have their own Dropbox up there now, but it's all secure. It's in Switzerland and it's all encrypted. It's great. Use Tor. Learn how to use Tails or some form of Linux. You can boot it off of a USB drive and play with it. You don't have to install it. You can just do a live thing and play around with it. See if you like it. Use password managers like Bitwarden. Bitwarden is free. You can download it and use it and keep your stuff. Don't give it to Google. Why would you do that? You could learn about email encryption. A lot of places don't use it. A lot of people don't use it because they're like, well, what do I have to hide? Well, it turns out these days, probably quite a lot, because everybody is reusing it. Explore self-hosting. We've touched on that. Take a look at the Fediverse. Take a look at what is possible when you leave these networks that are, quote, convenient, unquote, because that's how they get you. Yeah. You pay for that convenience with your data. You pay for it with your life, quite literally.
Yeah. If anything, obviously we're seeing now the turn in which, we're being hoisted by our own petards and seeing, the surveillance network that we built being turned against us. But like, I guess up until this point, and they're still doing it, but they're still just using my data to advertise to me and tailor my data and kind of shape reality in a man, well, like in their favor.
Well, sure, but also like
to somebody's favor. Ultimately.
Sure. Oh, it's always to somebody's favor. It's adjusting. It could adjust your medical rates based on stuff you've
exactly.
looked at.
And that shit is not good.
There's the famous case of Target knowing that someone was pregnant before they had even told their spouse and sending them shit.
And we are seeing, we're seeing fucking reason. I mean, like these fucking assholes will use any bit of data they can use against you.
And just to throw out something about Mastodon and decentralized and federated hosting and stuff like that, I have been on hackers.town for years and I have yet to receive a single ad.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that's a thing that you can do. It can exist. Now, I don't know what the Gibson is paying for that hosting, but I'm going to totally send him money to help.
Yeah.
I mean, I will pay to remove the ads from my life.
I think we're also discounting one of the biggest reasons to get off of these corporate things, to kind of take back control of what you do. You're going to lose touch with some people, and that will happen. You might have to find other ways to talk to family, but it turns out phones still work. Turns out mail still works. I left Facebook years ago, and I can tell you that one of the best things that comes out of this is that smug, superior feeling you get when people around you complain about it.
Yeah.
I just can't tell you how good that feels. I try not to express it anymore because it's a bad look, really. But the feeling is warm. It keeps me warm. It really does.
I'm so glad I quit that drug so long ago.
And that's a shit platform. Yeah.
To explore a middle ground, it's I've got a couple friends on Facebook that I cannot live without, and they will not move. They cannot move for whatever reason, and I get that. I understand. Okay, so I use Facebook Messenger to talk to them. I don't need to give Facebook anything other than that. I just talk to my friends on Facebook. Occasionally I post something, but what the hell ever. I don't have to give anything else to Facebook. And I just go to Messenger, see what my friends are up to. We have a conversation, and I bounce. So that's the thing you can do.
What I wound up doing was there were several people who were sick of it. I wound up setting up back when Slack, Slack was free. It still is for personal use. I want to get off of Slack, but that's a whole other thing. But I set up a Slack, and the people that I really have connected with over the years have gotten an invitation. Yeah. And we hang out there. But there are also a number of people who were friends, old friends, or people I've known for a long time that, we were starting to drift. And the only way we kept in touch was leaving notes on the Facebook for one, for just and not even for one another, just notes that everybody could read, because that's what Facebook is. It's notes that everybody can read. And when I left, I kind of learned who wanted to keep in touch and who didn't.
True.
And that's not a bad thing. I'm not telling you that it's good to lose touch with people, but it's also normal. It's also natural. So anyway, that's just a thought. You could get into skill projects, Arduinos, Raspberry Pis, hardware hacking, or just playing around with things. Just go play with things. Someone somewhere in your life is trying to get rid of a laptop. Adopt a laptop and throw Linux on it and see what you can do with it.
Yeah.
Find a local maker community or hackerspace. I know Akron had a great one. Cleveland Library has a hackerspace.
Yeah, check out your local libraries. A lot of them have makerspaces these days.
Yep. Look into open source. If you don't like Microsoft Word, check out OpenOffice. Check out LibreOffice.
Yeah, OpenOffice. I'm a big supporter of OpenOffice.
Right.
I'm a big supporter of LibreOffice.
Check them out.
Exactly. It's not the most exciting project in the world, but I don't have to use Microsoft.
Yeah, not having to subscribe to fucking Microsoft.
People got to write docs.
That's simple, easy to use, and it could literally save a file as like any word processing file ever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's tons of great software out there that there might be a little bit of a ramp to learn it, but it is comparable, if not better. And you won't owe anybody anything. You should, if you can, give back when you can, if you're able, because that helps those projects out, but they don't demand it,
Nope.
Then finally, things for culture, look at the EFF, check out Tactical Tech, look at privacy guides, go and read a manifest, go read the Cypherpunk manifesto. If you want to learn more about Operation Sun Devil, take a look at Bruce. It was Bruce Sterling wrote the Hacker Crackdown. It took a good look at that. If you're really feeling adventurous, go attend DEF CON or go to 2600's Hope.
Yeah, go to Hope.
It takes place in New York.
DEF CON, take it from a dude who at his first DEF CON was a speaker at DEF CON. Going to DEF CON, like, as a as someone who's just kind of tangentially related to the hacker community, is like diving into the deep end. I mean, as long as you can swim, you're going to be okay. But try something smaller if you want, because you won't be as intimidated, and it's going to be fine.
Our Discord.
You will be surprised by two things. You will be surprised by how welcoming and accepting the hacker community is, and you will be surprised by the number of fursuits. So,
yeah. So with that, I'm coming up on the conclusion. I have three things I'd like to conclude with. The first is you don't need to be a coder. You just need to be curious, conscious, and ready to experiment and play. All of this is play. The second thing is that the cyberpunk future is already here. It's just unevenly encrypted. And the third thing is start small, stay sharp, and build together. Thank you for attending my TED Talk.
Yay. Yay. That was fantastic.
That was great.
Yeah, it's weird to have been around for a lot of that shit, but not really knowing.
Well, and we scratched the surface. There's so much great history of the internet that, having been through it, I know pieces of, but people have written extensively about.
Yeah.
And it's, it's worth it because, they say that anything on the internet never goes away. But in some ways,
lies.
We're kind of seeing that a little bit.
Yeah, lies.
Well, okay,
lies.
Some things don't go away, but the protocols don't change. An IRC server still runs. The Usenet server still runs.
I do really like that.
Can still work.
I do really like that idea. It's just like, I love the idea of reclaiming, something old but still functional. Post-apocalyptic stories. You move into a fucking warehouse.
There was at one point where some friends of mine and I wanted a way to communicate. Does anybody remember MUDs or mushes?
Oh God!
Yeah,
yes.
I remember those terms.
I used to. So MUDs and mushes were text only interfaces that you would connect to over Telnet in plain text, and you would communicate with other people. But it was for role playing, and role playing meant a lot of different things. Usually.
There's a lot of work being done by those two words.
Yeah, role playing. So, but MUDs were primarily like D&D style hack and slash or sci-fi things. Right. Mushes and moos were more. A mush was a multi-user shared hallucination. I can't remember what moo stood for, but these were more freeform, where you started and you would build quote rooms. People could log in. You could code up whole systems. And you could build these worlds that people would move through, talk, but it was all text-based. It was like playing an old Infocom game like Zork, that kind of thing. Hitchhiker's Guide, but it was shared.
Yeah.
And
those still run.
Yeah.
I could set up a low-life mush tomorrow. And people could get to it. All these things still exist. So that's what I mean when I say things don't go away. We have to choose to use them. They are not as convenient. They are not as easy. But, the easiest place to go in a slaughterhouse is down the chute to get killed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I you have to give up a little bit of convenience and a little bit of connection to that world. I always think of them as muggles, but the people that don't look any further and just using the stuff.
Yeah.
You've got to learn a little bit about how things work.
Yeah.
And go a little deeper.
And before we get any emails and comments, a moo is a mud object oriented.
Okay. Sure. Right. I'll go. Sure.
No,
I thought it was the thing that makes up Shadowling's Deep State.
I thought it was moo, like moo, like the KLF.
Yeah.
That's Agents of Moo. Yes.
I'm falling asleep.
All right.
Yeah.
And
we should probably.
It's quite late.
And you too, listener, you should pull the blanket up over, your bits and stay nice and cozy. And
way too hot for that.
Okay. Slip into a pool. Anchor yourself so you don't drown. I don't know, man. Everything sucks. I'm trying to be nice.
Turn on the air conditioner, raise your legs, and let it just do what it needs to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Just lay back, enjoy the cool breeze.
Nice dry taint.
Hey, it's the Low Life Podcast.
Do you know anything about nightmares? You jammed the pumps on cowboys and cyberspace? Ever read Neuromancer? Ever experienced the new wave? Next wave? Dream wave? Or cyberpunk? I didn't think so. It may be it's a world where you can't really say anything. I'm going to do it. World where curiosity and imagination.
I'd buy that for $1. Hide the planet! Hide the planet! Hide the planet! Hide the planet! Shut up and get in the car! Go away, Baton!